Chapter 51. At night, within the Hyuga clan, Neji sat on the edge of the bed, and the room was dim. He opened the window, and the bright moonlight outside suddenly spilled in, making the room a lot brighter. Cold, but not lonely. On the contrary, it is an unprecedented comfort. Although he lost the actual battle with Asuma, Neji got what he wanted. Ding. The power gained in this actual combat. Fire style, stacking burn. Wind attribute chakra shape change. Wind style, blade. Wind style, Tuelon Gale. Please choose the ability to swallow this time. Wind attribute chakra shape changes. Neji didn't feel that something new had been injected into his mind, but there seemed to be a new chakra pouring into his heart. In this way, the ability to swallow is not conferred, but alien. The heart is the place where the blood vessels of the whole body are connected. While supplying blood to the whole body, the heart is also the center of all meridians. Nature is the center of chakra, the end of chakra, which is the dead door in the heart. Burn the energy of life. Neji is fighting Asuma this time, but just wants to test this ability. Judging from this result, even the ability to keep hands in the battle is still very likely to be stolen. Neji was lost in thought. On the second day, there was no training camp. Neji simply completed the morning training and tested the morphological changes of wind attributes. Sure enough, it's a very useful thing. He muttered to himself and looked to the sky. At noon, the clan meeting will be in 2 days, and now all the members of the clan are busy with this matter. Especially the elders of the branch house should be busy. Rumors about himself in the village have also become less. After all, with the exception of the movements of the two flies, Jintoki and Aota, Neji has always been tight-lipped and very careful, and it is unlikely that anyone will spot him. And perhaps his current situation is the same as that of Hoka Tenin back then? At noon, the Zong family has always had the habit of taking a nap. Neji didn't hesitate and stopped training. Came to the front of the Zong family. Hinata, according to Hyuga Haru, is practicing in retreat, preparing for the Chunin convention that follows. And Hayashi, you shouldn't be able to spare time now, right? Neji thought for a moment, then knocked on the door. Knocking. Neji took a deep breath. It happened to be the time when it was unlikely to be hit. Last time, because of Hinata, I knocked on the door of the Zong family impulsively, but bumped into the great elder Hoka Tensho. It was a mistake that Neji couldn't comfortably get caught in such a sensitive time. Over the years, the reason why I have lived steadily is that I have been careful to pay attention to my words and deeds. Therefore, Neji retired immediately, realizing that his choice was really impulsive. Squeak, the door was pushed open, and Hayashi was a little surprised to see that it was Neji. Come in, Neji. Hayashi glanced around. As a clan, he still needs to worry about peeping, which is ironic. Neji just said bluntly, nothing else, I want you to guide me in training. What? The Hyuga clan, training ground. A little light came in from the outside, but the whole venue was dim. Most of the children of the Hyuga clan are gentle fist trained from this dark place. Because of this, the palm of the Hyuga clan will be deep and powerful and extremely precise. Because using Byakugan to attack the acupuncture points in the dark, it will become very direct and precise, and will not be interfered by any foreign objects, and it will become a habit over time. Neji, you let me fight with you? Does this really help you? Hayashi still can't imagine that a genin wants to fight him. He is the Hyuga clan, currently the strongest combat power. Neji said, well, trouble you. The teacher trained me with other abilities, and hoped that I could find an opponent with the same melee game and extremely observing ability for actual combat. It is best that the opponent is also the owner of Byakugan. After all, I can't always defeating opponents in terms of insight always requires some breakthroughs. Neji's understanding is flawless. Hayashi also received such a statement and nodded hesitantly. Okay, in this case, his Byakugan, the veins wrinkled. Every line is old and powerful. The traces of the years, at this moment, turned into proof of strength. For the clan, for yourself, for the Hyuga clan. Neji, I will practice with you. Please stand out in this Chunin exam. Coming. Snapped. Pi. In the dark, two palms compete against each other. Obviously, Hayashi's palm is stronger, and Neji's offense is almost completely reduced to nothingness. Regardless of whether Neji is still holding his hand, this deep palm strength is difficult to cope with even with all his strength. However, Neji is better at speed and attacks from different angles, but Hayashi doesn't move much. Boom. Dong long. The dull sound on the ground is the sound of Hayashi stepping on the wooden floor, while Neji's footsteps are very light. So that's it. Attribute chakra? In order to pursue speed, You neglected strength, Neji, Hayashi said, found the opportunity and slapped it out. Neji was about to be hit and quickly shot an empty palm in the air. Using the explosive power of the empty palm in the opposite direction, he bounced himself aside, avoiding this gentle fist. Responsiveness is good, but lacks strength. When you meet a real Neji, your gentle fist will have no offensive power. Come again. Hayashi continued to explain gentle fist seriously to Neji, from noon to evening. After training, Neji said goodbye to Hayashi. Ding. The power stolen this time. Neji looked at everything carefully. Almost all of them were Revolving Heaven, 64 Palms, Gentle Fist Method, Acupuncture, and other abilities. Nothing unusual. Is it really not in the hands of the Zone family? Neji muttered to himself. Now that the dossier was cracked and disappeared, the person who took it naturally understood the practice. If Hayashi, who is currently the most powerful in the Hyuga clan, does not have the ability to master the dossier, then the dossier is in the hands of foreigners? In Neji's heart, there was a century of doubts. In the middle of the night, in the practice field, Neji was practicing his new abilities alone, and the wind style chakra form changed. The night breeze was blowing, and the air was whirlwind every week. The leaves were rustling. Neji refined the chakra in his body, and the sound of the wind disturbed his sight and hearing. In this case, it doesn't seem to be very beneficial to combat. Neji muttered to himself when the sound of a foreign object caught his attention. For a moment, as if cutting through thick clothes with a knife, the sound was sharp and heavy. Just beside me. Neji went to the beginning, but was still shocked by the suffering chakra, and he rolled over quickly. The surrounding wind slowly gathered up, but the night wind still rustled the leaves. When Kumu was pulled up and the covered eye was in front of him, Neji couldn't believe it for a moment. I saw the fierce blue veins, so old and powerful, engraved with the traces of time. Holding kunai with both hands, he stabbed down with all his might. 8 trigrams. One shot. A huge chakra burst out, and the man was pushed away by the force. But when he was pushed away, with a palm of gentle fist, Neji immediately opened Byakugan. Out of the palm, 2 palms touched. The air triggered a strong whirlwind. Shocked. Chapter 52. The man was bounced away, and Neji was able to withstand the force. He rolled to the side, avoided a few flying shurikens, and jumped up. Your body style and body shape. Is it a jonin from the Hyuga clan anyway? Why do you want to shoot me a genin? Neji gritted his teeth. He had already felt that palm, and he was completely under him by force. It's exactly the same as Hyuga Hayashi today. If he continues to fight, Neji will definitely show his true strength. But Neji still doesn't know who the opponent is. Humph. The other party sneered without speaking, as if he didn't want to be recognized by Neji. Rush in a few steps. Get close. Neji took the palm, and the opponent shot back. The two began a melee game, back and forth. Byakugan on both sides looked like 2 white lights in the black eyes, flashing around like streamers. The palm is like a shooting star, embellishing the night starry sky like a sea of flowers. But the man's hand is more than Neji, and at the same time, with every blow of gentle fist, there is a hidden murderous intent. Contains a deep force. Neji, who is able to train day and night and has extraordinary physical strength, is already struggling. This deep palm power. There is only one person in Neji's mind right now, and that is Hyuga Hayashi. But why? No matter how you look at Hyuga Hayashi, there is no need to shoot him. While thinking, the other party has quietly arrived. There was no sound even at the pace. At this moment, Neji was sure that the opponent could not be Hyuga Hayashi. Out of the palm, Neji stepped back immediately. The palm's strength is not strong, but it is fast. Only because of the difference in speed and 2 collisions, Neji felt that the palm strength was deep enough. But the other party's body style is obviously a full-time killer. This method of warfare is completely different from Hyuga Hayashi. Who are you? The other party still didn't answer, and then took out a handful of kunai. With 2 kunai in the left hand and the right hand, he is a master of kunai. Neji can't imagine that there are such people in the Hyuga clan who have profound pupils and are proficient in assassination. Rub. Kuwu swept past in the night, and the person's footsteps were brisk, as if he could hear the sound of Kuwu touching the air and rubbing in the air. 8 trigrams, empty palm. Wind style palm storm. Neji refined chakra and used his first practice results. A huge and intense storm blasted out along with the empty palm, and the man seemed to be extremely surprised when he saw this move. The hurricane that set off completely changed the speed of air circulation around it, and the sound of kunai rubbing in the air was no longer. The other party also applauded. Also 8 trigrams air palm. Go head to head. Jonin and Jinin duel. The two empty palms collided together and spread out in the air, comparable. A huge shock wave was released towards the two of them, and both of them took a few steps back. But the next moment, there was another empty palm, and Neji hid in it. The empty palm was slender, small in scope, but extremely destructive. A tree behind him was directly penetrated, then broke and fell. It seems I can't keep my hands. Only then did Neji realize that this Jonin was not here to test or play a prank. He came to assassinate himself. The chakra was refined, and for a moment inadvertently, the man came again. The fast speed is the fastest among Neji's opponents so far. Neji no longer dodges, but instead slaps face to face, and both sides fall back. This person is a professional killer, otherwise the speed would not be so fast. It is almost as if the 8 inner gates opened to the 4th gate. After this wave of confrontation, the man stared at his palm, seeming a little surprised. The touch just now doesn't seem right. He stepped forward again and confronted Neji. Boom. Both hands are very powerful, head-to-head duel. But Neji's chakra has a faster flow rate and is very corrosive, like thunder and lightning. Zizizi. Okay. The opponent's own palm seemed to be attracted by Neji's palm. Chakra softened together. Electricity can generate magnetism. Neji's mouth twitched. The basic physics is the same when placed in chakra system. 2 palms. Left shoulder and right shoulder, each palm. 4 palms. This time, Neji's speed was faster, and he was totally different from the previous one. 8 palms. Only then did that person realize that his assassination with a full blow had become accustomed to the speed lead just now. In fact, Neji has the habit of keeping his hands in any battle. In the previous matchup, Neji was just a test. This is Neji's true strength. 16 palms. What kind of speed is this in the end? Whether it is the body technique or the speed of the palm, it is as fast as a gust of wind, as fast as thunder and lightning. Neji's body is covered with a layer of chakra, the wind attribute of revolving heaven. As his body rotates back and forth in the air, his feet can change positions even when he gets up the moment he touches the ground. 32 palms. The movement of the palm out is hard to capture even with the naked eye. Ray 8 Trigrams 64 Palms. With his last palm, Neji didn't leave his hand at all, and used the strongest palm strength to strike the opponent's Tanjong acupoint. Puffy, as if discouraged, the opponent's chakra at this moment, all turned into waste products and stopped flowing in the body. The whole person was knocked away more than 10 meters away and fell to the ground. You can't refine chakra all night, let's say. Who are you? Neji walked forward, but the man raised his head, gave a vicious look, and left quickly. Did you run? Neji sighed, his mind heavy. On the 3rd day, the family meeting. Neji was taken by Hayashi and sat in the waiting seats in the last row. It is also the first time for Neji to participate in the entire Hyuga clan association. From the status of the Hyuga clan in the Konoha village, and the recent transfers within the closed clan, from the military forces of various countries to the usual management policies, the clan association will start from various angles from the village to the clan, have a lively discussion and voting. However, these are not the most important for Neji. The most important thing is the branch house in Neji's eyes. Hyuga Tensho, the grandfather of Hyuga Jintoki, the grandfather of Hyuga Aoda, and the oldest elder. The elder Hyuga Tianmu has a kind face, and has always been upright and upright. Neji's impression of him has always been a rare good impression among many elders. Hyuga Amazawa is the lowest key elder and the youngest. He seems to be in his 30s, but it is said that he has practiced the technique to maintain his appearance, and his actual age is almost 60. These are the 3 most representative elders of the Hyuga clan, and they are very powerful. Although there are a total of more than 20 elders in Hyuga, the other elders are basically on the sidelines. Only the 3 of them dare to point out the decisions of the clan at the clan assembly. For the entire clan, Neji is only paying attention to the words and deeds of the 3 of them. Judging from the dossier, in order to solve the mystery of the year, it is necessary to understand the details of the branch house. And what surprised Neji most was the main reason why Neji agreed to join the clan association this time. That is the representative of the clan, 23 elders, 15 jonin representatives, 7 special jonin representatives. No one was absent. The master of last night, there is a high probability that Neji can use Byakugan without any clues. Or, the other party, is not included in the list of participating clan associations at all. If this is the case, then the details of the branch house have to be checked. Chapter 53. Then the clan will end here. Do you have any objections to the decision made? Hyuga Hayashi seems to have completely presided over the overall situation. Although the branch house of the clan family has been grieving for a long time, Hayashi is upright and has done his best to the branch house. Most of the reason was the sacrifice of his own brother Hisashi, which caused him to do his best to do the duty of the clan without fighting for it. Therefore, the branch house is scrupulous, and on the surface it is very obedient to the Zong family. No matter how bad, there is also the existence of the curse caged bird. This is the destiny that the branch house cannot escape no matter what. Forgive me, the last time the clan talked about Hyuga Neji, hasn't it been resolved? The one who said this was the oldest elder in the clan, Hyuga Tiansho. Everyone's eyes were first attracted by the Tianshu, and then they all subconsciously looked towards the last row. Hyuga Neji was sitting on his knees solemnly. Neji, you come to the front. Hayashi also seemed to expect this to happen, and reached out to greet Neji. Yes. Neji stood up, saluted all the seniors, and then obediently walked to the center of the clan venue. More than 40 pairs of Byakugan, the place where the eyes gather. Even if there is anything unusual about chakra in Neji's body, it will be clearly seen. This is the most terrifying part of the Hyuga clan. Neji must be dripping and not leaking. No flaws can be produced. What was the result of this Chunin exam? Hayashi asked. Neji bowed first and replied. A total of 10 people have advanced to the finals. After 10 days, the game will begin. Okay. Hayashi nodded. So, what's the problem? Hayashi looked at Tiansho. Neji's eyes followed Hayashi and glanced at Tiansho. Last time he personally injured Jintoki, and this time he shot Aoda again. Tiansho, the old guy, really likes to avenge private revenge. Huh, isn't it over yet? I heard that he met a ninja from Sand Shinobi Village in this exam. Everyone knows that Sand Shinobi Village has always been the weakest hidden village in the 5 major countries. Good luck? Faced with arrogant doubts, Neji said nothing. In any case, the final result has not come out yet. In full view, the gambling agreement still takes effect. At this time, Tiemu Hyuga showed a squinted smile and said, Brother Tiansho, why bother with a child like this? You suspect that he has learned the secret technique secretly. If his strength soars overnight, it will be easy for you. Doubt, he said, looking at Neji. Now, Neji is just trying to honor the bet of the last clan association. You are so embarrassed. Do you hope that Neji really has the supreme talent, or do you just hope that he is just an incompetent waste? Kind eyes, sharp words. Especially the vacillating question. Neji felt protected, but he couldn't rest assured. What is his true position for this kind-looking Hyuga Tianmu? The 3 elders, he is actually the most mysterious person. Tenmu is right. Before the results come out, don't just increase your karma. Moreover, this time our Hyuga clan applied to the village's security department. To a large extent, it happened to rely on Neji's performance on the Chunin exam. The 2 people, one after the other, are like flanking back and forth. Dawn with affection, move with reason. Tiansho was distressed, and even if he wanted to seek justice for his grandson and grandson, he would not dare to blatantly corrupt his reputation. In this case, I'll wait to see the results. If you really have the ability to learn Revolving Heaven on your own, the little Chunin exam will surely not trouble you. Tiansho said the scene and slowly lowered his head. People with discerning eyes can see Neji's targeting, and those who dare to stand up and express different opinions are only Tianmu and Hayashi. The 3 elders of the branch house can be seen in Madara. But, now that the Zong family has also submitted it, the essence of this application is to let the people in the village re-recognize the true strength of our Hyuga clan. Now in the peaceful era, there are not many wars, and people's focus is also on education. Above, the strength of a child makes it easier for everyone to embed in the impression of a family. It was Hyuga Amizawa who said this. His voice was a bit feminine. Neji couldn't imagine such a middle-aged man with a fascinating face. He was actually 5089. Hayashi nodded. Amizawa, you are right, that's what I think. I believe Neji is a person. He learned Revolving Heaven by his own ability. And most people in the village know that Neji has always been at such hard work. These years of hard work will not be in vain. Let him take the Chunin exam to win glory for our Hyuga clan. You all thank Neji. In this case, I don't think it's better to send someone to train Neji well. Neji is a child who works very hard, but he may need a guide who has been alone all the time. Tienza's words resonated with most people in the field. I think Elder Tienza is right. Yeah, since it's all decided like this, The overall situation is still the most important thing. Help Neji well. Just a few words, it completely drove the atmosphere in the field, and the majesty of Hyuga Tensho is not at the same level. Well, I mean it too. Hayashi wanted to train Neji personally, but unexpectedly, he was interrupted. Then let me arrange this. Tienza took the words he had left behind and waved directly, and a jonin behind him came forward. Iroha, you used to be in a ninja school. You know the specific quality tested by Konoha's Chunin exam. It's up to you to do a training for Neji, right? Yes. Everyone in the field supported him and praised Tienza's decision. Only Hayashi, a little embarrassed. However, the general trend has been achieved. In this case, Neji, you have to take this opportunity. Not everyone has the opportunity to receive Iroha's training. It is good. Neji nodded faintly. The more chaotic the occasion, the less chaotic the aura, and watching the elders younger than him snatching his goal eagerly, Tiensho stared at Sun Xiang Tienza fiercely. Tienza raised a fan and slapped himself enchantingly, with a triumphant cunning in his eyes. After the meeting, Neji was taken to the training ground by Iroha. At sunset, the dojo was dimly illuminated by the afterglow, and the reflection on the wooden floor was golden light. Neji, it seems that you have mastered the essentials of gentle fist method? Iroha looked at Neji with serious eyes, as if thinking about something, and Neji was startled and scratched the back of his head in a naive manner. Thank you, teacher, for exaggerating. I myself often train against the stakes. Call out. Iroha flashed his whole body quickly and rushed towards Neji. Neji's eyes rounded, and the wind that Iroha approached almost blew Neji. He staggered a step and stood firm. What's happening? Neji was at a loss on the surface, but in his heart he came to a conclusion. This Hyuga Iroha taught himself the basics of gentle fist for an afternoon, but he has been inquiring about his style. At this time, he approached unexpectedly, and it seemed that he was coming to test himself. Nothing. Since I have taught you so much, as a teacher, I naturally want to test the results, Hyuga Iroha said, stepping back a few steps, and then began to untie the bandage wrapped around his wrist. Come on, fight with me. Let me see your level. His eyes were firm and powerful. Chapter 54. Teacher? Are you kidding me? I'm just a genin. You are jonin? Neji made awkward defensive movements with both hands. No matter what, he couldn't be caught at this time. The three elders of the Hyuga branch house, Neji knows nothing about them now. If you are caught in any way, I am afraid that you will be in the light and the enemy will be in the dark in the future. It's okay. The teacher won't be serious. This is a test for you, Neji. Iroha's mouth twitched slightly, but Byakugan's violent blue veins were clearly the most serious state. At this point, Neji still has it. Neji, you are so scared to fight against your teacher. Do you still have hidden strength that hasn't been shown? Neji was taken aback by Iroha's questioning. My little tricks. I'm afraid they won't be useful against the teacher. Neji seals and opens Byakugan. But his hand speed is not fast. It seems that he is extremely serious about wanting to win. All this was seen in Iroha's eyes. He narrowed his eyes. As a jonin of the Hyuga clan, he was embarrassed to fight a genin now. And now Neji is in this state again, which makes him feel that, in fact, Neji was only misunderstood by the upper elders. To what extent can a genin be talented no matter how high it is? I'm coming. Fast forward, Neji chose to take the initiative. Something. Iroha was surprised by Neji's speed, which was already the effect that Neji had slowed down several times. It's just that this speed still surpasses most genin. What? Neji struggling to slap gentle fist. In the eyes of Iroha, he can easily deal with it. Even if it is blindly defensive, Iroha can keep Neji from taking advantage of it. Looking for an opportunity, Iroha turned his back on the defensive and took the initiative to attack. Neji could even make mistakes in his steps and was hit by Iroha's unintentional palm and knocked back a few steps. Play seriously, Iroha said solemnly. Well, I will. Neji looked up at Byakugan again. Under Byakugan's vision, Hyuga Iroha's chakra circulation was normal throughout his body, and it can be seen that his major is not physical skills. If he is serious in sparring, Neji is likely to have the upper hand in physical skills. Moreover, in Byakugan's eyes, Iroha was not at the same level as the mysterious person that night. And Iroha is already a jonin of the Hyuga clan, and is already among the best in terms of strength. The killer ninja that night was still completely stronger than Iroha in front of him. In this way, the person that night was not Iroha, and the strength of that person was still an unknown mystery. Neji thought, playing against Iroha absent-mindedly again. The two didn't want to get up and down this time. It can be seen that Iroha has also left his hands on Neji. After Neji's weakness several times, Iroha didn't seem to believe that Neji, a genin who worked so hard but had little gain, would have any weird behavior. Learning to Revolving Heaven is probably just a coincidence, right? Iroha was filled with doubts. 8 Trigrams Palms, Revolving Heaven. Neji found the opportunity to use Revolving Heaven, but this time, Revolving Heaven, in the eyes of Iroha, was full of loopholes. Puffy with a palm, Iroha hit Neji's back and knocked Neji to the ground. This kind of venue is not suitable for the use of Revolving Heaven. It will shatter the floor. The monastery is used to practice the gentle fist method. Okay. Neji fell on the ground, panting. I'm sorry, I'm too eager for quick success and want to get the teacher's approval. Acknowledged by me? Iroha asked suspiciously. Well, with your approval, I can end my practice, right? Why should we rush to end our practice? Iroha was startled suddenly, thinking that he was going to find something strange. Neji, who works so hard, shouldn't let any chance to become stronger, but he wants to end his practice soon? Well, because Mr. Guy recently arranged for me a new teacher, Mr. Asuma. He is teaching me to use chakra to change the nature. I want to end the practice in the clan as soon as possible and go for special training, Neji said with a tired smile, looking innocent and innocent. Is that so? Iroha lowered his head and breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that I think too much. Iroha couldn't help but doubt himself, and this mission was only ordered by the elder above. As a younger generation, he didn't even know the existence of the dossier. In that case, I approve of you. As soon as Iroha turned around, the blue veins around his eyes slowly returned to peace. Teacher, I was also instructed by Elder Tienza to be in charge of your gentle fist. Now it seems that you are not only working hard, but gentle fist technology has completely reached Chunin's level. The fighting IQ is not bad, from any angle. Look, you can all become a qualified Chunin. And my level is definitely not as good as Teacher Asuma. After Iroha said, he left. Neji breathed a sigh of relief, letting go so easily. It seemed that he was really training himself with the task of temptation. The next day, Konoha's streets and alleys. The flag with the word bath was hung around the corner and was fluttering in the wind. There are few people everywhere, and behind it is a large and spacious bathhouse. An Umbu boy wearing a mask stayed in front for a few seconds. Ha ha ha, Mother Ino. Are you coming to take a bath too? I heard that there is a Chunin meeting recently. How is your family, Ino? That kid, who has been working hard to cultivate. I told his dad, why take a girl seriously and find a handsome husband to become beautiful, and everything will be fine. That's right, just like you. Marrying high, how happy. Two middle-aged women talked and laughed and entered the shop hand in hand, while on the tree trunk, Neji was holding on to the branch, silent. It was really embarrassing to meet Ino's mother in such a place. Neji couldn't help but be grateful that he had the foresight and put on a mask to come. However, Neji must also hide his identity, because the target he is looking for this time is not a simple character. That's the legendary ninja. Next to the female bath is not the male bath. This is also to prevent some peeping people from opportunistically. After all, this is a ninja village, and there are not a few people who can use ninjutsu to do stuffy things. But most of them are ineffective ninjas, so they will do some simple protection. The male bath and the female bath are separated at two ends, and the female bath is surrounded by a hot spring stream with a bridge on the stream. Only by walking along the bridge to the corner of no one, in that small piece of wall, can you reach the female bath at the closest distance. He, a burly man with long white hair, was laughing. The corners of his mouth were grinning, and his face was blushing. His entire face was lying on the wall where the hole was opened, and his eyes almost stared out of the wall. Turn around, turn around. The man was praying while sucking the saliva that was about to drip from his mouth. Neji on the tree frowned when he saw this scene. This legendary ninja is still a bit old and rude. I'm really afraid that I will be caught together and treated as a voyeur. He was about to go out, and a figure suddenly jumped over from the bridge. I saw the man dressed in black Konoha, wearing a round-framed ink kagami, and his clothes had the Konoha clan logo, and he wore a headscarf and Konoha Jonin forehead protector. It was Konoha's Jonin Ebisu. Finally found you. One of the legendary three Lord Jiraiya, Ebisu said to Jiraiya's back. Chapter 55. What? Neji was on the tree, tangled for a while. Then he made a decision immediately, intending to wait and see for a while. After all, I still don't know what the situation is. He was the one who came to look for Jiraiya first, but he was robbed first. Huh. Jiraiya turned his head and narrowed his eyes to look at Ebisu. It's you, Beak Nose. It's Ebisu. Ebisu was taken aback, clenched his fist and reminded. But Jiraiya didn't panic and continued to laugh and glance at the beautiful world behind the wall. He glanced at Ebisu and asked casually, Hush. You have a lower voice. I'll collect the material here. Creation needs inspiration. Then he continued to squint and look inside. At this look, it seems a little disappointed. Ah, what a pity. How come you have put your clothes on, damn it? How come? Ebisu was startled and backed away, his nosebleeds almost gushing out. Just listening to Jiraiya's description, he blushed and shouted again and again. Master Jiraiya, I have always respected you. How can you do such shameless things? He stepped back, pushed his own emo Kagami, and murmured, No, I have to analyze it rationally. Isn't it possible that a ninja at the level of Lord Jiraiya can't get rid of the truest desires of humans? Or is it just human? Should be obedient to the heart, should not be bound by some unnecessary rules? You are right. Over there. Jiraiya turned her head back with a smirk and threw a closer view of Kagami. Ebisu caught it, stunned. Over there. There is a hole over there. Jiraiya pointed to the past. Both Ebisu and Neji looked over and saw that there was a relatively hidden wall on the other side. Oh, you unexpectedly. Ebisu took a deep breath. His entire face turned red with shame. Neji, standing on the trunk, was sweating coldly. What kind of strange scene is this? Neji swears that for a moment, he really wanted to escape. Master Jiraiya, please stop watching. I really want to tell you. Ebisu, who felt that he was about to be unable to hold it, finally asked in a loud voice, as if he was carrying an important mission. This voice seemed to resound through the sky at this moment. There was peace and silence. After 3 seconds, not far from the wall, there was an exclamation and shouting. Someone is peeping. With a pop, the wall on this side was completely blocked, and the curtains were all pulled up. Back on the bridge, Ebisu followed Jiraiya, and Neji naturally hides his breath and moves quietly on the trunk, trying not to be too far away from the two of them. On this side of the bridge, there was a huge toad, preventing a tiger as big as a tiger, and Jiraiya jumped up. On the toad's neck, a bead was hung with a thick rope, and the bead was written, Loyal. Hurry up, I have work to do. If I collect the materials quickly, my work will not be completed. Jiraiya looked a little impatient, while Ebisu looked serious. Master Jiraiya, since you are in the village, why not meet Master Naruto? We are always looking for you. You know, the village is in crisis now. To shut up. Jiraiya got bored and gave Ebisu a glance. Ebisu's eloquent mouth was also closed. I am also busy with important things. Konoha village is not peaceful now. The real battlefield is still elsewhere. Jiraiya abruptly began. Ebisu frowned and said in his heart, The battlefield, he said, refers to the thing behind that wall, right? Naruto-sama, what's your order? With so many Jonin Konoha, can it be done? How about Kakashi? Facing Jiraiya's questioning, Ebisu said, This matter, even if you copy the ninja Kakashi, is nothing wrong. Only you can afford it. Oh. Jiraiya rolled his head. Ebisu took a deep breath, his expression returning to a serious state. Master Jiraiya, please come back, inherit the position of Naruto, and become the 5th Hokage of Konoha village. The air seems to be condensed, and Neji on the trunk was not unexpected, just a little unexpected at this timing. It seems that Hiruzen has already planned to abdicate, which can be considered a kind of safety. In this way, the news of one's own identity can be better hidden. Is that so? So that's it. Jiraiya let out a sigh of relief. Her face relaxed. Therefore, you, as the Sannin, are the most suitable to become the 5th Hokage. Please contribute your powerful strength to Konoha village. Don't go. Jiraiya's answer made Kagami almost lost Ebisu's eyes. This? Who said that the village wants me to be Hokage? I have to be Hokage. The old man is fine now. I think he can be at least another 10 years. You people, don't worry about it. Jiraiya jumped off Toad Tadashi and was about to go out. Jiraiya-sama, anyway, please come with me to see Hokage-sama. Ebisu was anxious and was about to seal. Fatty Toad. Seeing that Ebisu was about to shoot, Jiraiya glared. Toad Tadashi's tongue spit out of his mouth. The speed was so fast that it even killed most of Jonin's level. Before Ebisu's technique was completed, he was knocked off into the hot spring under the bridge. Jiraiya's figure fluttered out, and Toad disappeared into the air with a bang. But at the door, a young figure jumped off. Jiraiya, who was running fast ninja, was also forced to stop. "Stay, Lord Jiraiya." Neji stopped at the door. "Are you also here to persuade me to go back?" "No, so young, are you Danzo's?" Jiraiya looked contemptuously. "No, I was not sent by third generation nor Danzo. I just want to ask you a few questions." "Ask questions?" Jiraiya tilted his neck. He didn't expect that he would be intercepted by a teenager, and he sneered. "Master Jiraiya, please wait." Behind him, Ebisu had crawled out of the hot spring, and Jiraiya frowned. "Help me stop the guy behind me, and I will answer your question." Neji was taken aback, and only after a moment did he notice that Jiraiya was not far in front of him with one step, and jumped behind him. So fast. Jiraiya left quickly, but Neji was heartbroken. Since he was here to ask questions, he naturally had to set his own attitude. 8 trigrams, empty palm. Puff, a rush of air hit it, and Ebisu reacted as he ran, turned to the right and avoided. "Umbu? You brat. I'm here to give Hokage's notice. Don't make trouble." Ebisu did not expect that a young man would dare to intercept him, but he did not expect that the other party had already started. Seeing this movement swiftly towards him, Ebisu snorted coldly. Are young people so arrogant nowadays? He contemptuously thought of a solution, Jane's shadow clone. However, the swift boy Umbu approached, faced the 4 shadow clones, and quickly shot. Puff, boom, boom. The 3 shadow clones were solved almost in an instant. The last one was kicked, and finally the real body was left. Ebisu resisted the attacking palm with his arm. Such a heavy chakra? Ebisu faintly felt that if the force of this palm was hit, it would end up terribly. He looked at the mysterious Umbu boy in surprise, only to realize that he could not easily cross the obstacles. It seems that I have met a master of physical skills. Chapter 56. I'm sorry, this is my task. Neji turned on Byakugan, wanting a quick fight. But Ebisu is so easy to mess with? Task? What task? Is your task to prevent me from fulfilling Hokage-sama's orders? Ebisu fought chakra, clinging to the soles of his feet, and his pace became very steady. Every blow of Neji was cleverly avoided. Drink. Focus on chakra's palm and release chakra. 8 trigrams. One shot. Without using all the moves, releasing chakra can also achieve unexpected results. The strong chakra pushed towards Ebisu, and the whole person was repelled by a dozen steps. Can you control chakra at will? What kind of ability is this? Umbu really has a lot of talents. I didn't expect that even teenagers are already good enough to enter the Umbu organization. Ebisu felt that the boy in front of him was not as weak as he thought, and he was not stingy with his words of praise. What are you going to do? Get rid of me here? Ebisu knew that the Umbu ninja was in front of him. As a jonin directly under Naruto, he was very interesting and didn't want to fight the boy in front of him seriously. But Neji wasn't determined to win a showdown. He only said, "Not really, I just want to fight you." Now that Jiraiya has put aside his words, Neji might as well accept this condition. Moreover, Neji now needs to fight a ninja who is higher than his own. Isn't it just a non-threatening opponent who was given away for nothing? What? Neji leaped away, a palm that fell from the sky. Ebisu took his arms and was knocked down. Before landing, Neji slapped him again. Ebisu backed back one after another until the hot spring came back behind him. I'm going, are you serious? Only then did Ebisu realize that he had to be serious, otherwise he would really be forced to the point of being forced by the other party. Fire style, great fireball technique. Ebisu quickly got the seal, and Neji glared at Byakugan, a little surprised. Wanna see? Uchiha's signature ninjutsu, great fireball technique? Boom boom boom. The huge fireball blasted towards Neji, and Neji moved quickly and avoided. The destructive power is full, but the scope is not very wide, so it is easy to avoid it when the speed is not fast. Ebisu is not the Uchiha clan after all. It is normal to use the great fireball technique to not reach the point of perfection, or it is caused by keeping hands here. Why did Umbu shoot me, a Konoha ninja? Are you going to defect? Seeing Ebisu calling for a while, Neji just wanted to give him a mouthful. No wonder so many jonin, including genin, don't like this teacher, but he really likes B-pies. Call out? Knowing that it would be a meaningless waste of time if it dragged on any longer, Neji's whole person quickly approached. If even the opponent's strength can't come out, then it's really a waste of this opportunity to fight. This is... With a punch, Ebisu avoided, but chakra, trembling in the air, still penetrated Ebisu's body. Another palm. Ebisu perfectly avoided this palm from top to bottom, but chakra shook in the air, causing Ebisu's side to be shocked. What exactly is this? Boom. A punch hit Ebisu's abdomen. Afterwards, the whole person was knocked down from the air and fell into the hot spring. Wow. The water splashed. Neji landed and wanted to continue chasing. When Ebisu came out of the hot spring quickly, his face was flushed from falling into the water twice, and his clothes were also wet. Are you one of Danzo's? I'm pretty sure. Third Hokage doesn't have umbu like you. Ebisu seemed to have some anger. That's fun. Neji thought. Step forward again. Out of the palm. Water style water barrier. Ebisu attached chakra to the soles of his feet, stood on top of the hot spring, and released water style. The water net in the hot spring surrounded the city with a cylindrical wall formation, blocking Neji's attack. The water splashed everywhere, and Neji stepped back a few steps. The hands have been reddened by the hot spring water, but, as expected of Jonin, in the water of this temperature, he hasn't been affected much yet. Neji now understands why Ebisu's character is so unpleasant, but he can still become Konomaru's tutor. After all, Ebisu's skill is obviously higher than Neji's idea of using brute force to cover chakra. Hit chakra on the foot while evading, and when resisting the attack, he quickly moved chakra to his arms, and he could still come up safely even after falling into the water. Fire style, great fireball technique. Ebisu, who jumped from the water into the air, quickly sealed the seal, and planned to attack without leaving any room this time. Neji hooked his mouth. This is a good opponent, but this time he won. Humph. Neji quickly closed the seal, and Ebisu realized that the young man with physical skills in front of him could actually use ninjutsu. Wind Style Palm Storm. Neji raised his palms, and the two whirlwinds came out, entangled together. But Ebisu stretched out his hand to spit out a huge fireball. The fireball touched the wind, but it became more and more vigorous. Children are just children after all. Don't you understand that the wind attribute is restrained by the fire attribute? Ebisu's winning ticket is in hand. I saw a more vigorous fireball, thumping towards Neji. Neji didn't panic, palms his hands, and knocked out. The violent air wave squeezed into the fireball, and the fireball turned and forced it towards Ebisu. That's okay. Ebisu was surprised, and quickly continued Jane. Water barrier. The water underneath continued to rise, blocking the fireball. Ebisu fell down. Neji lifted his palm, rushed over quickly, facing the water barrier, and palmed out. 2 palms, 32 palms. With swift palm strikes, the thunder-attributed chakra quickly entered the water. The liquid is a conductive body, and the thunder and lightning chakra quickly spread in the water, paralyzing Ebisu's whole person. Wow! The water seemed to be pouring, and it was scattered one after another. Ebisu also fell down and floated on the surface of the hot spring. It's amazing. Can you control chakra so finely and accurately even if you are knocked down? Neji chuckled lightly and leaned in quickly. Ebisu, who was already paralyzed, could only take mermaid meat. He murmured. What kind of boy can achieve such a level of restraint in chakra? This kind of outstanding ninja with small details reminds me of Uchiha, that genius ninja of the clan. Afterwards, Neji hurriedly left. The border of the country of fire, 10 miles of forest. Crossing this forest of at least 10 kilometers, you can walk to the border of the country of fire, and the 3 directions ahead are to the country of rain, country of river, and country of Taki. Naruto has no problems now, so the next step is to search that organization, Jiraiya murmured. What he stepped on under his feet was a large toad with a height of more than 10 meters. The body was blue, and the 2 swords were inserted in the scabbard on the back. Toad Hero, are you sure that the small country near the country of the river was destroyed by one person? Is it Orochimaru? It is indeed a person, not Orochimaru, but a ninja who uses puppetry. Puppet ninja? Another ninja who has never heard of strength. Since he is such a strong ninja, then it must have something to do with that organization. As Jiraiya muttered to himself, he suddenly noticed something strange. He looked back and sighed. Where are you from? Why are you so difficult? I saw an Umbu boy wearing a mask in the woods not far away, slowly standing up straight. Chapter 57. I just want to ask you a few questions, Neji said, reaching out and throwing something. Jiraiya was stunned, and caught the thing with a lot of strength. It's Ebisu's turban, wrapped in a small stone. You guy. Jiraiya squinted his eyes. He just talked casually. He didn't expect that the person in front of him would actually go to fight Ebisu. Aren't you Umbu? How dare you do something to the people of Hokage? Besides, does Umbu still have someone your age? Jiraiya's first reaction was that this person must have been organized by Danzo. It is said that Umbu has a root organization that specializes in collecting orphan ninjas and training their abilities, imitating the customs of the Bloody Fog country back then, carrying out cruel selection and selection. This child is likely to be a member of the root. The toad underneath is wide and has a deep voice. This Danzo, please don't get me wrong. Neji talked loudly. I just want to ask you a few questions. It won't delay you too long. If you think it's unfair, I can fight you and you can make your decision. Neji is really serious this time. There is no need to hide it. This is yet another refresh of the strongest Neji has ever played against. Among the positive strengths, a Jiraiya can even completely crush Orochimaru. If you can be recognized in terms of strength, and then let Jiraiya willingly say what you want, it would be best. Base. Neji's speed this time is even faster than the sound. This guy is so fast. Toad Guang underneath immediately sighed and stretched out Toad's hand to pull the double-edged blade behind him. But Jiraiya just jumped instantly, avoiding Neji's close body, and said, Toad Guang, I'll leave it to you. As soon as Jiraiya escaped, it seemed that he wanted to stop himself with a delay. But this is already the border of the country of fire, and it seems that Jiraiya has finished his task of arranging people to protect Jinchuriki and intends to investigate new intelligence. If I missed this opportunity, I really missed it. Neji slammed. Byakugan turned on. The chakra in the palm of the hand circulates rapidly, and lightning has formed between the palms. Zizizi. Chidori, Jiraiya, who jumped to the top of another tree, was a little surprised to see the way the Umbu boy fights. Puff. Boom. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms. All the 16 palms hit Toad Guang's body. Toad Guang's huge body was immediately limp. Neji moved so fast that Toad Guang didn't even have time to pull out the blade. He fell to the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Toad Guang. Jiraiya was a little surprised. Toad widened his throat and said, This guy has sealed my meridians. Sorry for your hard work. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, Jiraiya lifted the summoning technique. With a bang, Toad Guang disappeared. Neji fell into the air, and then the branch in the sky leaped and disappeared. Seal the bloodline. Isn't it a Chidori, but a gentle fist? And it's the gentle fist with the thunder attribute chakra. This is the first time I saw it. Jiraiya is well informed, not too surprised by this. Base. At the speed of light and shadow again, Neji had appeared in front of Jiraiya and came with a palm. Snapped. Deep, sophisticated chakra. Neji was surprised by Jiraiya's quick response. With another palm, Jiraiya is ready to deal with it, and the other hand has already caught it. Neji has a juvenile figure, so facing the burly Jiraiya, he naturally does not have the physical advantage. With both hands restricted, Jiraiya chuckled, At your age, you are already an incredible ninja, but it's a shame to join Danzo. After that, Jiraiya took advantage of Neji's temporary inability to move, and lightly jumped, slapped his clogs in the air and flicked his hair, and the warlock was done. Earth Style Yellow Spring Marsh. Neji stared at Byakugan and saw clearly that this legendary ninja, any part of the body can be used for Jane. Ba 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 ba. Underground, a huge swamp appeared under the big tree where the two of them were, and the whole tree began to sink and fall quickly. With this force of falling, Neji finally got away, but the horn of Jiraiya's attack was also blown. Ninfa, random lion hair technique. The long white hair behind Jiraiya stretched out like a white-haired lion king. The white hair grew vigorously like a devil's claws and headed towards Neji. 8 trigrams empty palm. Neji struck forward and slapped an empty palm, and Jiraiya stretched out his arms to resist. But Neji used the reaction force to jump out behind him, breaking the shackles of the messy lion hair forcibly. Oh, interesting. The yellow spring marsh underneath continued to exert its strength, and the entire tree had fallen. But Neji had only Jiraiya in his eyes. Even Jiraiya jumped back, away from this area. Neji used the last branch in the air to jump quickly and chase after him. Earth Style Wall. In the air, Jiraiya seals, but Neji also refines chakra. Ray 8 trigrams 64 palms. The remaining 32 palms hit the thick soil wall, which was completely shattered by the thunder attribute chakra. Huh, a lot of actual combat experience. Jiraiya exclaimed. So, how about this? Jiraiya had just landed, and seeing that Neji had just broken through the barrier of the earth flow wall and escaped from the yellow spring marsh, he started to attack again. Fire Style Flame Bomb. A huge fireball rushed towards Neji. Neji's cold sweat is first-rate. This level of Fire Style is not in the same dimension as Ebisu's great fireball technique. Water Style Water Barrier. Puff Puff. The water flow from the ground broke up and rushed up and surrounded Neji. The solid water wall barely resisted the flame bomb. The fire and water contacted a large amount of liquid to evaporate, and a large area of gas rose. Do you still know Water Style? Jiraiya tilted her neck. He didn't expect that a young man could have so many advanced ninjutsu. As the water barrier slowly fell, Neji shed a drop of cold sweat. This is the shadow-level powerhouse. Pressure, multiplied pressure. Every time Neji played against each other, Neji felt that he became more and more confused about the next rhythm. Is that the battle of the strong? If you don't pay attention, you will take the dominance away from your hands. If it weren't for the fact that Neji had stolen Water Style's ability after playing against Ebisu, and swallowed it down, taking precautions against it, Jiraiya, a powerful Fire Style, seemed to have no way to resolve it. What a thrill. Whether it's the two Earth Styles just now or the Fire Style now, the range and power are completely different from those I've seen before. One of the legendary three-people Jiraiya, Neji shook the fist in the handshake, maintaining a nervous state of tension. How old are you? Jiraiya asked curiously. Neji didn't answer, just pondered for a long time. You are very strong, but I don't regret fighting against you. Neji said frankly. You kid. Let's talk. What question do you want to ask me? Jiraiya can be regarded as admitting that this young man is a very talented wizard. Maybe he strayed into Danzo's men. Maybe he could have the opportunity to instigate rebellion, so he wanted to relax and answer. Neji gasped, and finally there was a slight gap. He wanted to keep some energy. The last time I was in the Death Forest, I also had the same pressure as now, but at that time my strength was not as good as now. But obviously, your talent is higher than Hisashi. This is what Orochimaru said when he was fighting against himself. The clan family, branch house, dossier, including his own father. Orochimaru, maybe he knows something. Neji will not miss any possibility. I want to ask you about the S-Class wanted man. Orochimaru, Neji said decisively, and Jiraiya, who heard the news, was shocked. Chapter 58. You kid. Why do you want to inquire about Orochimaru? What do you mean by Danzo? Jiraiya immediately became vigilant. He thought it was just a kid who didn't understand anything and said such words, which really made him uneasy. Believe it or not, I have nothing to do with Danzo. Neji was still anxious to explain. After all, he really hopes to get information from Jiraiya, because Jiraiya is the right wing who is firmly standing on the third-generation side and Danzo is the left wing of the main battle. Neji has already weighed this sensitive side-by-side relationship in his mind. How to prove? Jiraiya asked. Neji took a step back, still a little nervous. More than strength, this is also the first time Neji has communicated and negotiated with such a well-thought-out person. This is different from third Hokage. Jiraiya acts much more decisively than the indecisive third generation. Once Neji is determined to be a dangerous target for the village, Jiraiya will definitely solve Neji directly here. This is something Neji can be sure of. He swallowed and realized that he was a little unnatural. Call. Neji sighed. In your opinion, how can I get information about Orochimaru from you? In this case, Neji chose to head-to-head. Just see how decisive he is. Huh. Jiraiya was a little surprised. This person's style of behavior is really not like the people under Danzo. I don't need to tell you anything, but if you can make me surrender with your strength, maybe you will gain something? Naked provocation. Without a hint of anything else, Neji suffocated. With the slightest cool wind blowing, Neji felt his soaked back, and only then realized that the battle just now made him sweat profusely. Neji bowed his chest together and took a deep breath. The two were more than 10 meters away, and the air in the middle seemed to be condensed at this moment. The next moment, Neji moved. It is still the speed of the peak period, only within a second. Having moved half the distance, Jiraiya reacted very quickly. Reach out, Jane. Summoning technique. Jiraiya slapped his hand to the ground, and Neji moved closer, trying to take the opportunity to preemptively. Ninfa, Zajizu. The white hair became extremely hard in an instant, wrapped Jiraiya and stretched out to form a protective circle. Drink. Neji was going to go head-to-head, and still slapped it out, but there was no news. The gentle fist's strength seemed to be completely meaningless, and chakra played on Jiraiya's defense without any effect. Boom! A huge toad fell from the sky. Rumble. Falling to the ground, smashed a huge hole. And Jiraiya jumped into the air long ago and jumped onto the body of the crimson toad. Neji didn't know when, and he retreated tens of meters away, looking at the opponent not far away. This toad is a little smaller than the toad just now, but it is more robust with a huge pipe in its mouth and looks like a social boss. When Tai, long time no see, Jiraiya stepped on Toad Bunta's back with his foot and said, "What's going on? Jiraiya, why did you call me? Did you encounter a very dangerous enemy?" "No, it's not very dangerous, but it's really hard to hear." Jiraiya looked down and met Neji on the ground in the distance. "Huh, an Umbu boy?" Toad-One was too disdainful when he saw Neji. It seems that an opponent of Umbu's level is nothing to him, but he is still an Umbu in his teenage years, not to mention it. Don't be careless. This kid will use Gentle Fist, and it's very powerful. Just 2 or 3 tricks, he just beat the toad to the ground. Jiraiya reminded that Toadman was too startled. Afterwards, it snorted and entered a rigorous fighting state. At this level, do I have no chance of winning? Neji muttered to himself. The strength is not in the same dimension at all, and Neji can still be evenly matched if he fights. In terms of ninjutsu attainments, he couldn't compete with the Shadow Ninja at all. But he also has something to be proud of. Wind Style Palm Storm. Neji ran over quickly while making seals. Then, both palms came out. Boom. Wow. Toad-One was too quick to move, so he immediately drew his knife and cut Neji's offensive directly with one knife. I also use Wind Style. This guy is a talent. Jiraiya praised. Come on. Afterwards, Toad-One was too proactive, and a single action made the surrounding ground tremble and the trees swayed. Neji felt a huge sense of pressure. Toadmanta is not as simple as an ordinary summoning beast. It is definitely not just a physical suppression. In Byakugan's vision, one Tai's chakra is also circulating quickly. Call. Cut it down with a single knife, and the blade cleaved a strong wind in the air. A dozen trees were chopped off the forest, and Neji moved quickly, barely avoiding the attack. This range can't be compared. Since there is no way to fight for range, then fight for quality. Wind Style Palm Storm. This time, Neji made the seal with one hand. Then, with the other hand, released the empty palm. Suddenly, I saw a violent shock wave in the air, and seeing the concentration of chakra made people very surprised. Boom. Hit on Toad-Wenta, the entire body of Toad was knocked out. The power of Wind Style was strengthened by the empty palm, and the body of Toad Bunta, who flew into the air, was pressed into the air. Rumbling. The Toad text was 2 landing, and the 2 toads held a knife in their hands and plunged into the ground, barely standing firm. Jiraiya, this kid is amazing. Ah, of course. Otherwise, what would I tell you to come out for? Jiraiya also swayed for a long time and finally stood firm. He applauded the Umbu boy's eyes even more. In this case, let him try that trick. When Tai, you use oil. Okay. One person, one toad, began to seal and condense chakra. On the ground in the distance, Neji had just stood firm, but he was a little startled when he saw the strong chakra in front of him. Boy, your water style is useless this time. Fire style, Toad Oil Flare. Puff, Toad script is too large to spit out a huge range of oil, while Jiraiya spit out fire style flame bombs, combined to form a very huge fireball. Boom, boom, boom. Boom towards Neji. Water style, Water Barrier. Neji condenses almost all of his chakra. In this terrain where there is no drop of water, he can only summon a small portion of water. This level is simply unstoppable. What do you do this time? Jiraiya's mouth twitched, and now he just wanted to rub the sharpness of this genius boy. Water style restrains fire style, but also restrains wind style. Just like fire style restrains wind, it will make the fire more vigorous, and the wind will also make the water extremely cold. Wind attribute form change chakra. Neji condensed the huge power stolen from Asuma in his body. Wind Revolving Heaven. Inject all the chakras that have changed in shape into water style, and use the physical method of revolving heaven to force them together. Puff. The strong water rushed upward, and the storm rolled up by revolving heaven joined the change in form and rolled up a rapid cyclone, and the temperature dropped rapidly in the water jet. I saw that water style became hard ice, blocking all Neji, and the huge ice formation blocked it in front of it. This is being done, isn't it? The chakra, which combines the water style Zephyr together and adds the shape change, forcibly created the blood inheritance boundary? Jiraiya's eyes rounded. Chapter 59. Sensation. The huge fire ball hit the ice wall, and the outer layer was directly melted by the intense flame and high temperature. But that's only the case. 3 consecutive fire bombs with great power only melted the ice wall. But the entire ice wall is very strong, and its shape is still somewhat convoluted. The talent of this kid, Jiraiya left a drop of cold sweat. The last time I felt such a terrifying teenager was when I saw the young Minato. But that's just about actual combat. In terms of real strength, the boy in front of you is even stronger than the young genius Namikaze Minato. It's really interesting. Jiraiya chuckled and jumped from Toadbunta's body and rushed over. Fire Style Rasengan. Jiraiya stretched out his hand and rubbed out a Rasengan that was not too big or too small, adding the shape change of the fire attribute. Rasengan immediately turned into a terrifying fireball state and was thrown on the ice wall by Jiraiya. Boom! The fireball hit the ice wall and did not die. As long as it continues to provide chakra, the power of Rasengan is very terrifying. Kacha. Part of the ice wall was melted and pierced by Rasengan, and cracks began to appear around it. One-tai. What? The huge blade was swung down. Jiraiya threw Rasengan out, and Rasengan quickly expanded in the ice crystals, cooperating with the attack. Crack, click, click. All the hard ice cracked, but Neji below had already seized the opportunity to quickly escape the danger. After a few big leaps, the front was reduced to a chaotic muddy of ice slag and flames. Neji jumped onto the tree trunk to prevent being caught in it. Boy, who taught you all these? Who is your teacher? Huh. Jiraiya seems to be out of the mood to fight. Konoha should be very happy that he has such a talent. Now, he is only interested in who this person is. My purpose is only one. Orochimaru's information. You kid. Jiraiya frowned, still finding it difficult. This kid is really stubborn too. It's all like this. He still clings to Orochimaru. Did Orochimaru do anything bad to him? Ding. Neji was communicating with Jiraiya, and the system suddenly jumped out. Neji didn't ignore it. If there is no major event, the system shouldn't disrupt the midway battle like this. Ding. Congratulations to host for stealing the ability of the opponent. Jiraiya in this match. Fire Style Flame Bomb, Earth Style, Huangquan Marsh, Sage Mode. Detected that the host's strength reached the standard, the ninja level was promoted to Chunin. The number of devouring powers has been increased to 3, and currently up to 3 abilities can be swallowed. There are 2 items. Wind Attribute Change Chakra, Water Style, Water Barrier. Swallow. Neji is overjoyed. This is not an accident, but Neji's guess. Unexpectedly, it really succeeded. Please choose the ability to swallow. Sage Mode. Do. Neji felt like he was ingesting a huge amount of things in his heart. It felt like the whole body was filled and it felt warm. In this way, this trip is not in vain. Hey kid, tell me who you are, or I will beat you down. Jiraiya took a few steps forward, squinting. Sorry, since I can't get the information, I won't fight. The corner of Neji's mouth was hooked. As long as one of the 2 goals was achieved, he didn't need to chase the other. Call out? Neji was swift and thorough, and the ground trembled. It's the Toadman who jumped too far, but the speed is not the same level at all. This kid is running. You can't catch it, Jiraiya. Toadman is too Taoist. Wait, you kid. Jiraiya was anxious. What's happening? Neji was about to leave, but he didn't expect Jiraiya to want to keep him. Seeing this kind of strange talent, Jiraiya didn't want to miss it from the bottom of his heart, especially because he didn't want the genius boy in front of him to go astray. Here. Jiraiya took a scroll into the clothes and quickly threw it out. Hey Jiraiya, you? Toadbunta was also a little surprised. Neji caught the scroll, still a little wary at first. But after opening the scroll, Neji was a little shocked. The above is a simple map with a forest near the country of fire, and underneath, very detailed paths and conditions are marked. Because I don't know your purpose, there is only so much I can provide you. This is one of Orochimaru's strongholds, but he is very cunning and will often move strongholds, Jiraiya said, looking at Neji seriously. So, can you tell me who you are now? Neji took the scroll, mainly because he also stole Sage Mode. He was very satisfied. The mask is taken off. That pair of Byakugan seemed to be proud of the world. Neji smiled confidently at the corner of his mouth, in sharp contrast with the surprised Jiraiya. Hyuga Neji, the ordinary genin of Konoha village, is not Danzo's person. You can rest assured, and I hope you will keep a secret for me. Neji just said that. If Jiraiya had to expose him, he would have nothing to do. Hey you. Jiraiya was still immersed in a sense of surprise. This Hyuga Neji had heard of it. According to Naruto, he was also a crane-tail ninja in Konoha village. By the way, the next time I see you, I will become stronger and I won't be suppressed by you anymore. Neji looked back confidently and smiled and left quickly. Hyuga Neji, it's amazing. Jiraiya stood there, clenched his fists, and opened his eyes. He muttered to himself, could it be that he is the legendary son of prophecy? Konoha village, inside. A secluded corner of the street. The three of Otonin, Toss, Otowa, and Zack wrapped in bandages. Are you really going to find Uchiha Sasuke? Kim asked. Toss nodded. Well, damn Orochimaru. Maybe he used us as guns. He actually chose Sasuke. If this is the case, he can't completely wipe out Uchiha Sasuke as he wants. At this moment, a head poked out from the side. What are you strange guys talking about? Are you talking about Naruto's teammate, Sasuke? The three of them were startled and looked not far away. I saw it was a little kid, dressed in a naive cloak, with a bunch of pineapple hair on top of his head. The three of them breathed a sigh of relief, turning out to be just a kid. Boy, kid, go away, or you're going to hit the kid. Zack glared at the kid boy, and in a moment, a shadow quickly flashed past him. It was Toss who jumped over and grabbed the kid by the neck. Boy, you were lucky. Come on, tell me, where are your brothers Naruto and Sasuke now? Toss' eyes were bloodshot. Ah, help. Let go of me. Patter. A stone was thrown on To's hand, and his hand was released instantly. Run. Konohamaru. Ino jumped down from the tree. Konohamaru ran away and hid behind Ino. The other two Otonin also followed. You guys met in the Death Forest. Ino gritted his teeth and looked casual. He didn't seem to be trained today, but just happened to see it temporarily. Oh, little sister, the last time you shouted. It was really lucky that someone came to rescue you. This time, it fell into my hands again? Zack took a step forward. Jingle bell. Ino immediately covered his head. His whole person was paralyzed, and the opponent is good at using sonic attacks. Afterwards, Ino was pulled up by the collar, and the whole person was lifted up. Toss grabbed Ino's neck, and Ino frowned, looking very painful. Let her go. A calm voice appeared, and several people looked at it. On the trunk, there was a handsome young man. Chapter 60. Rather, seeing that it is Neji Ino, I want to call out. However, Toss seemed to work harder. He pulled tighter. Oh, isn't this the ninja who is holding back? Toss was even more arrogant. Zack also came over and asked, children and female ninjas are useless, and in the end there is another crane tail. I said the three of you, you can't even provide information like Uchiha Sasuke, right? Hey, Toss snorted coldly. It's really lucky today. Hurry up and tell the whereabouts of Uchiha Sasuke. And Zack saw Neji indifferently, even more arrogant. I guess you can solve this waste even with one hand, right? As he said, he pulled a certain cloth band with his mouth. The bandage on his right hand was loosened, and he stretched out his hand and moved it twice. Then he aimed at Konohamaru, who was shivering on the side. Hurry up. Tell the whereabouts of Uchiha Sasuke, otherwise these two people will die. Zack grinned. His eyes became violent and bloodthirsty, but only stayed for a moment, and the next moment, his eyes became surprised and blank. A short moment. Call out. Pie. With a palm, Toss' eyes rounded. The hand was forced to let go, and the whole person stepped back. Ino was put down, wrapped in one hand by Neji, and stood firm. But Toss was covering his abdomen, agonizing. People say that when the pain is the most, you can't make a sound. But now Toss, even making an expression feels difficult. Damn it. Cut the empty wave. Zack, who sensed that Toss was hit by Neji for an instant, reacted and turned his arm to Neji. 8 trigrams, empty palm. And Neji's movements are faster. The moment when the station storm was just punching out, it was firmly held back by Neji's empty palm. Boom. Zack was blasted out by the reaction force, and Jean, who was standing behind, looked at the scene in surprise. Isn't it a good crane tail? Why is this scene? Several people looked at Neji in embarrassment. They thought it was an easy game, but at this moment it turned into a fierce battle. Neji, let's run. We are not their opponents. Ino stood up and went to help Konohamaru, whose legs were frightened to the bottom. Although Ino knew that Neji practiced hard, he also became stronger. But these Otonin Ino have seen their cruelty, and he didn't wear a ninja suit or a ninja today. Neji had to protect Konohamaru with one enemy and 3, which would definitely be disadvantageous. It's too late to run now. Take advantage of it now. They won't let us run, Neji said. Also realized and swallowed. What to do? Konohamaru, go and inform Konoha's other ninjas. Neji and I will hold them here. Started to appease Konohamaru, but Konohamaru was too young to be frightened by the ninjutsu fight just now. Wanna run? Jean gritted his teeth and took up the exclusive ninja in his hand. Jingle bell. In the air, there was a trembling sound with chakra. Toss also tilted his neck, stood up, and cast a hostile look at Neji. What? Neji took the initiative and ran over there. But Toss came head-on and played against Neji. Neji slapped and Toss punched, bumping together. Comparable. There was a very strange sound inside the metal implement of Toss' arm. Neji was startled and realized that the chakra in his body was in chaos. Chong Kongbwa. Puff. Neji was hit in the center, and the whole person was knocked out. When he landed, he immediately reacted with difficulty, avoiding the shuriken flying in the direction of his landing. Is it a sonic ninjutsu? Interfering with my chakra's flow makes my senses misjudge and seize the tiny gap. Neji muttered to himself. I have to say that although the strength of these Otanin is not very high, the combination of their ninjutsu characteristics, coupled with the increasingly familiar tacit understanding, can also produce a terrifying effect. How are you, Neji? Asked. I'm fine. Let me help you. Was wearing a skirt, and it was not easy to act in a ninja pose. Neji naturally shook his head. Ha ha, still brave? In front of girls? Do you love face so much? Sack sneered. Jean also ticked the corner of his mouth. This woman is indeed a bit charming, but if you are at this level, don't stage a hero to save the beauty. It's almost there, your abilities. I have already thought of a way to crack it. For a long time, Neji just stepped forward and said. I ignored their ridicule, but thought about it for a long time, looking confident. You guy. Toss was angry and went forward. What? With a punch, Neji avoided. But even if he avoided, Neji was shocked by the sound of Byakugan. Chong Kongbwa. Jingle bell. Call out. Jean Kongbwa passed by. Ah, what a pity. Sack tilted his neck and hit it, but the battle was still in their favor. Neji landed in the middle of the three and was double-teamed by the three. Well, it's just right here. Neji found his position and assumed a posture. Revolving Heaven. Chakra prospered from his body, but Toss smiled. Don't be naive. We heard about the moves you used against Sand Shinobi. Our sound waves are not physical attacks. You can't help it. Chong Kongbwa. Jingle bell. The attacks of the three people came all at once. However, Neji's Revolving Heaven did not work, but the whole person was spinning, but the effect of Revolving Heaven was minimal, and the release chakra was not concrete. But those sonic attacks in the air disappeared. Silence. The air is like dead silence. What happened? Several people attacked again, and Neji seemed to be dancing in the middle. All of those attacks were resolved. Is also a little surprised. Neji unknowingly dissolves all the attacks, just like magic. A whirlwind swirled around. Toss finally realized and was surprised. You guy. Neji's mouth twitched. Finally realize it? What the hell is going on? Sack was speechless, and for the first time his Zon Kong wave had no effect. Who had been watching, saw the circling wind, and finally thought of the answer. I see. Neji used wind style, which caused the air to vibrate. Vibration. Jean took a step back. Neji chuckled. The sound is transmitted by the air, and it is also a physical attack, which interferes with the vibration of the air. It is the same as the two people can't talk in the air through a sandstorm. Your attack has been completely invalid to me. Next. It is good. 8 Trigrams Palms, Revolving Heaven. The huge Revolving Heaven chakra burst out, and the three Otanin were involved, and also cooperated with Neji. The two punched and kicked, and the three of them were beaten in embarrassment. Tell you guys to dare to be arrogant and domineering in Konoha village in the future. Made faces at the embarrassed three people. Okay, awesome. Much better than Naruto, brother. Konohamaru watched the scene, sucked in the nasal mucus left behind. His face was circled. How is this going? At this time, a woman's voice came over. Several people looked over and saw Konoha's Jonin Yuihong, and next to her was the special Jonin, who was very similar. Here. Teacher Hong, there are a few ninjas here who want to pick things up, and they were taken care of by us. Greeted him with a smile. Their teacher Asuma and Yurihong had a good relationship, and was naturally familiar with Yurihong. Neji was taken aback, then turned his head and suddenly found that Konohamaru, who was still just now, saw Yurihong and ran away. Chapter 61. Well, you don't have to worry. Lei Tong will bring back those Otanindo. After the treatment, Shurihong walked along the street with the two alone. Ino and Neji also roughly truthfully described the situation just now. I just didn't expect that, Neji. Your strength has improved so fast. You can handle 3 people alone. Compared to you, Hinata, as Shurihong said, there was something strange in her eyes. Neji was taken aback. How is Hinata's training recently? Shurihong was stunned for a moment, a little dazed. Huh, didn't Hinata say that the Hyuga clan has its own training? She doesn't follow our class for special training. Oh, Neji answered easily on the surface, but some ripples began to appear in his heart. Training within the clan? Neji muttered inwardly. With thoughts, Neji said goodbye to the two. Back to the clan. Where is Hinata? Neji ran into Hyuga Haru at the clan's house, so he hurriedly asked. Chun looked around and said in a low voice, Be quiet. Miss Hinata is practicing in the backyard of the clan alone. No one is allowed to see him until it works. Oh, Neji nodded leisurely. Since Chun had said so, he was a little relieved. But you can see if you want to. Miss Hinata will practice there alone every afternoon before the sun goes down. But you have to be careful. Now the whole family is suspecting that you two have an affair. Don't be discovered. You will become talking about it. Okay, I know. The next day, in the afternoon. What? Hinata was alone in the backyard, training in the air. At this time, a figure, playing on the courtyard wall, quickly turned over. Hinata, who was dedicated, didn't find it. With a pure face and a delicate figure, every part of Hinata looks very different from all other girls. Neji couldn't help but stared blankly. Until Hinata stumbled during practice, she was about to fall. Neji's Shup approached directly and hugged Hinata. Brother Neji, why are you here? Hinata blushed. Neji smiled slightly and stabilized Hinata. Don't worry, I avoided everyone's sight. I took a peek at you, and I was a little worried. Well, now everyone is suspicious of you. You must be careful. I will. Neji turned on Byakugan and looked around again to make sure it was correct. Come, I will train with you. It is good. As a result, in the huge backyard of the Zong family, the sound of punching the air was replaced by the sound of palms and palm hits. Drink. Hinata seemed to work hard, but Neji, who dealt with her, looked relaxed. Be more serious. Although Neji was unwilling to give up to this sister, he maintained a high level of sanity. If the training is not serious now, when the real sparring, it is Neji who suffers, especially within 1 year. If Hinata cannot become strong enough, she will also be engraved with the curse of caged bird. Drink. Neji thought of this and slapped his hand. What? Although Neji was accustomed to releasing water, the palm wind was too strong, and he pushed Hinata away. Hinata. Neji immediately went to protect, but Hinata stood firm on his own, and then looked for a chance to attack. Neji was startled and barely blocked it with his arm, but was still knocked back several steps by gentle fist. Well, that's it. Grab all the gaps. The corner of Neji's mouth twitched slightly, and it looked a little bit at last. But just because of this, Hinata was already sweating profusely, and her underwear was soaked with sweat. The shape of the whole figure is clearer and the outline is visible. Okay, take a break. The two walked aside and sat down to rest. This Chunin exam did not expect to be against you. At that time, when you have to be a last resort, you surrender. Neji said, Brother Neji, no matter what, I am very happy to be able to play against you. Oh, why are you happy? Because I'm a waste ninja? Neji quipped. No, because I can exercise my strength. Neji brother is very strong. I know this best. Hinata? A voice came. It was Hayashi. Sorry, it's father. Hinata, protect yourself. I'm leaving now. Hinata gave a huh, just a glance, and when he came back to his senses, Neji's figure had disappeared. Hinata? Hyuga Hayashi walked out of the house barefoot, and Hinata turned around. My father. Hinata, how is your training? Hayashi walked over, smiling, looking at Hinata appreciatively. Well, sorry, I will continue training now. Hinata was a little flattered, worried about being scolded, and wanted to continue training immediately. Unexpectedly, Hayashi walked over, put his hands on Hinata's shoulders, and said, It's okay, girls, you don't need to train so hard. Okay. Hinata's eyes widened. Could it be that his father is connected? This is not Hayashi's style at all. She almost thought she was dreaming. Who are you? Hinata frowned and asked carefully. Hayashi was stunned for a moment, then the smile at the corner of his mouth disappeared. Hinata snorted, then frowned. Within 3 seconds, he lost consciousness. Hayashi retracted the hand that was tapping the acupuncture point on Hinata's shoulder and dropped it. With a bang, Hayashi changed his personality. His whole appearance looked a little bit like Hayashi, but he looked leaner, 35 or 16 years old, with vicissitudes in his eyes and old-fashioned eyes. At night, Neji came to the practice range alone. Naturally, Hyuga Jintoki and Hyuga Aoda seemed to be much more honest after being warned by themselves. Maybe it's because things have gone to the elders now, and there is no need for them to target themselves, but Neji finds it much more convenient. At least in this practice field, Neji is always alone with him, which is quite convenient. Hiss. Neji sighed and felt the acupuncture points all over his body and began to absorb chakra. It has a slightly similar effect to revolving heaven and a hit, but the effect is to absorb it back. The method of operation is different, and the difficulty has also increased a lot. Xianshu chakra +1. Xianshu chakra +1. Xianshu chakra +1. The speed is very slow, and after the outbreak, the consumption is very fast. Throughout the night, Neji received little. It turns out that the so-called sage mode is just learning to refine chakra. How to use chakra specifically, you have to think of a way. Neji was annoyed, rubbing his chin, his head swiftly moving. As he was thinking about it, he was suddenly startled. Afterwards, he quickly closed the seal with interest, and Byakugan opened. A powerful chakra, stronger than last time, is approaching. Behind the tree, appeared, and Neji, who had already turned around in advance, looked serious. You are finally here. I have been waiting for you here for a long time. Neji tilted his neck, looking like he was ready to go. The opponent also seemed to have quick eyes and quick hands. Seeing that Neji was preparing, he seized the gap and attacked directly. Base. The action is swift and violent, and the palm is fast and accurate. Not to be outdone, Neji hit back. I want to hit my palms. Zitsi. The thunder-attributed chakra was flowing in Neji's palm, and the opponent was shocked by a stronger force. After stepping back several times, the veiled man looked at his palm. This paralyzing touch. He squinted his eyes and stared at Neji. The thunder-attribute gentle fist that caused him a big loss last time. He has never heard of it before. And Neji is more like mastering the big picture this time. Why? Do you really want to know why I can integrate the thunder attribute chakra into gentle fist and still change the nature? If this is the case, I can consider telling you if you miss a bit. Neji's eyes were calm, smiling. Chapter 62. Hearing Neji's provocation, the other party was a little surprised. From the situation of the last match, Neji's character was more clearly understood by him than his strength. He didn't expect such a cautious person to provoke him at this time. But the masked man was obviously more calm. Even so, he still didn't speak. Instead, he exuded a particularly strong killing intent. Shots are fateful. Base. The action was so fast that Neji had to go all out. First, it was a dodge, avoiding the head-on blow. But how could the opponent only take this blow? Turning around after getting close is another sideways blow. Wind Revolving Heaven. Neji instantly released a huge amount of chakra from his body, condensed the wind-shaped concrete chakra in the air, and began to spin fast. Boom rumble. The entire terrain has even been changed by Neji's Revolving Heaven, and the figure of that person has long since retreated. In the Byakugan behind him, I can see clearly that Neji is a completely different chakra from ordinary Revolving Heaven. It is the nature change of the wind attribute, and it is very powerful and strong. Unbelievable. This is a move used by Genin. Heh. I didn't know who you were when I left your hand last time, but this time it's different. Neji raised his hand and condensed chakra again, with a cold smile on his face. Although I still don't know who you are, just from the last clan meeting, you were not there. And your tricks are so weird. Are you a hidden force of a certain elder? Neji's words shocked the man, and it seemed that he had guessed part of it. Neji continued. Since this is the case, I will be an enemy of your filthy things anyway, so why should I hide it anymore? Neji frowned, and the chakra all over his body grew vigorously and recklessly. What the hell? The man under the mask screamed secretly in his heart. What the hell is going on? Such a strong chakra is not like the ability of the ordinary Hyuga clan. Wind Style Palm Storm. Neji finished all the seals with one hand in just a moment. Wind Style? One-handed seal. The masked man jumped back and avoided. The attack range of Palm Storm is not large, but the intensity is extremely high. Neji seems to concentrate on the high-intensity chakra. Haha, Jinin is Jinin, with no actual combat experience. Isn't it a waste of chakra to use this ninjutsu at such a distance? The masked man thought to himself, and said with a chuckle. But when Neji saw the man avoiding the wave of palms, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Wind Style. And also? Palm Storm. With the other hand, Neji released another wave of palms. Boom boom boom. This time, the range is wider and the chakra volume is larger. But the masked man also made a seal, and his movements became faster, avoiding in the thrill, just caught in the middle of two long waves of palms. Naive? The masked man saw that he had avoided the opponent's very heavy attack, and then it was time for him to counterattack. However, in the next second, the smile on his face disappeared. I saw that although the two palm storms had been beaten for a long time, the chakra that continued in the air did not disappear. What is this? He secretly said that the chakra in the air seemed to be a solid shape and did not dissipate. Neji chuckled. This is the shape change of the wind attribute chakra. Then there is, you can't escape. He jumped up, taking advantage of the opponent's inability to act now, and began to seal the seal. As if by instinct, Neji didn't have too many memories in his mind. This is a stolen ability. After the battle with Jiraiya that day, in addition to chakra, Neji eliminated Water Style, Water Barrier, and replaced it with another ninjutsu. Fire Style, Flame Bomb. After all, this ninjutsu fits better with himself. Puff Puff. For 3 consecutive rounds, the flame bombs drew across the night sky like a huge bolide, violently rushing toward the masked man. Chakra, the wind attribute mixed in the air, began to form and became a violent hurricane, controlling the movement of the masked man. Wind like a rope? Why can a genin be so proficient in controlling chakra to make shape changes? The masked man gritted his teeth and couldn't believe it. Boom! The fireball exploded in the wind, and its surroundings instantly looked like a sea of fire. And the fire did not spread. This is not a ninjutsu that wins by quantity. The hurricane has contributed to the power of the fireball and became even more fierce. Humph! But the masked man did not have stage fright, but made a few seals. Smelly boy, you're still tender. I saw that the other party put on a posture completely different from 8 Trigrams 64 Palms, and the way chakra was released was completely different from Revolving Heaven and Gentle Fist, accelerating in the body. Neji was slightly startled, and secretly said, "This is Byakugan's S-level secret technique." Neji greedily looked at the way the opponent condensed chakra. Unfortunately, Byakugan, which was only 13% pure, could only simply see the general process of the opponent condensing chakra. All chakra flows rapidly in the body first, and then gathers in most of the acupuncture points of the body, but almost all of it is on itself. Then, at the pubic area, the energy of the whole body was sent to the shoulders, and then it was accumulating a blow. It is not through the palm of the hand, but the power of the arm to wave the wrist, the hands into the palm, and the force is hit. 8 Trigrams Mountain Breaking Strike. The huge sound is like moving a mountain. The overwhelming momentum rushed towards Neji's side, and the huge burst of aura made the fireball disappear without a trace in an instant. With that horrible chakra, the masked man made 2 steps and 3 steps and quickly approached Neji. The power of the mountain-breaking blow turned out to be so great. Actually, this is the most powerful physical skill of the Hyuga clan. If chakra is enough, it can even destroy a large mountain in one blow. Are you too scared to move? Hyuga Neji, take it. The moment the opponent struck, he was already overwhelmed. Xianshu chakra +2. Xianshu chakra +2. Xianshu chakra +3. And Neji, who had been standing far away for a long time, finally breathed a sigh of relief at this moment. Is that enough? Neji lifted his palm and faced the difficulty. I will use chakra, all the results of my practice tonight, condensed in the palm of the hand, as if in gentle fist, not using dark power, but bright power. Neji slapped with one hand. Boom! Loud noise, resounding through the air. If it were not for the driving range to be far away from the residential area, the sound would have awakened all the sleeping people nearby from their dreams. You guy, with one hand? The masked man with his hands and palms looked dumbfounded. All his offensives, after colliding with the terrifying chakra just now, were completely offset. At that moment, he seemed to see clearly. Ordinary chakra is blue or green, but that chakra is all black, mixed with pure white, as if seeing the power of chaos. I don't know where the power comes from, but it completely crushes the normal chakra. You kid, do you really have terrifying power? The man slowly spoke, his voice a little low. The corner of Neji's mouth twitched, and his expression was already a little strenuous. Drink. Neji slapped away, and the opponent naturally no longer dared to take it. Leap back, and Neji took advantage of the victory and slapped it down with a palm. Boom, it was Shadow Clone. Neji landed and looked back. The man was panting, with a wicked look in his eyes. It seems that the dossier is really in your hands. Hand it over and spare your life. Neji frowned slightly and did not answer. Chapter 63. The other party chased after him reluctantly, because he wanted the file. Neji is still unclear whether the dossier records some facts, and these people are so active in front of him. Sure enough, it's a dossier, Neji murmured. If this is the case, the elder behind the person in front of him does not have a dossier. Hyuga Iroha, the jonin who tested himself, was sent by the three elders, Hika Amazawa. If this is the case, Hyuga Amazawa does not have a dossier. It seems that he is the most likely at the moment, but if he has such a powerful role under him, why should he send a jonin to train himself in the name of training? Neji was thinking inside, but the other party was already impatient. It's great, this kind of power. I've longed for it for a long time. The other party seemed to be a person obsessed with power, which also convinced Neji that this person should not belong to the clan. Shadow Clone Technique. I saw that the other party used the clone technique, and two shadow clone appeared on the left and right sides of Neji. The corner of the other party's mouth twitched and said, "Don't think that you are the only one who is special. Now come to see my profound meaning. This is something you can't handle." After all, the three masks are sealed at the same time. Shadow Clone is also printed, and Byakugan is also real, with fakes and real ones. Neji watched around and saw the other three. All of them had been refined in chakra, but the amount was much less than before. 8 trigrams, triple breaking strike. This? Neji stepped back, sensing the danger. It's a terrible guy to let Shadow Clone use the secret recipe. Neji is not stingy with his praise of his opponent, but there is still no fear on his face. Damn, where on earth are you confident? This trick, I want to make regret appear on your face. The other side looked at Neji so indifferently, he was a little crazy. 3 people, 6 palms. There was even the sound of wind being rubbed in the air. A huge force struck Neji, and the movement was not only fast, but also very wide, and chakra covered all sides. Throwing at Neji alone, he has nowhere to go. When the huge force is pressed down, any person's body will be interacted with each other by the powerful force, and it will be crushed into flesh. Boom. The violent sound strikes. Neji, on the other hand, took a peek from behind. Pulling out a small file, he sighed. I didn't expect it to be used so soon, although it is a pity, but your enemy is really worth it, Neji murmured and opened the scroll, only to see the word Earth written on it, and various warlocks surrounded it. Earth Style Hardening Technique. This is an advanced Earth Style ninjutsu scroll. Neji still intends to save it for the exam, but now it seems that it is compelling. After using Xianshu, it seemed that the body couldn't last too long and couldn't be dragged down. Boom, boom, boom. All the power of breaking the mountain was eaten by Neji alone. Even Chakra's palm hit the body, only making a terrible sound of power, even the sound of bones rubbing in the body. The ground was forcibly pressed for a while, and the smoke scattered. However, under the smoke and dust, Neji was still safe and indifferent. Impossible! The masked man stared at the front with his eyes rounded, and there was no reason to believe that the opponent had actually taken the blow. Call out? Moving quickly, Neji has reached the front of the masked man. The masked man had already reacted, but to his surprise, Neji's palm went out extremely fast, and the strength is dozens of times higher than before. Boom! The masked man was slapped and knocked into the air. The tremendous power made him vomit a mouthful of blood. With a wow, the entire chest cavity was hit by Neji, and the organ ruptured. If you continue to fight, your lungs will rot. Neji's mouth twitched, and from Byakugan's perspective, the opponent had no more power to fight back. Although Neji used chakra for the first time, the load on his body was already severely exceeded, but the opponent even had difficulty breathing at this moment. The man lay down and got up with difficulty. His breathing became weak. He stared at Neji fiercely and firmly grasped the clothes on his chest. Damn you! Where did you get the dossier? Neji squinted. He didn't intend to pay attention to it, but he didn't expect that he would be so persistent on the file. Although I know you won't believe it, I haven't seen anything like the dossier. Neji's tone was calm and his breath was calm. With this alone, the outcome of the two has been formed. The opponent was almost unable to stand at this time, and Neji was even more likely to win. It's really amazing. You guy has put me like a dead end and still doesn't change my face. You can't move anymore. Don't struggle. Neji unlocked the Earth-style hardening mode and tried to save the last chakra, otherwise he would be embarrassed. Anyway, just interrogate him well. Call out. Seeing the opponent through a shuriken, Neji skillfully avoided and knocked it flying with his hands, while the opponent had stood up and rushed towards him. Neji drove Byakugan and sought a red chakra condensed in the opponent's chest, and the chakra in the chest was quickly returning to flow. What is it? What? The opponent slapped him. Neji avoided and was about to fight back, but the opponent jumped with all his strength at this moment. The whole person flew 10 meters away and fled the battlefield. From the beginning, the opponent knew that he was invincible, and he just wanted to run. It's just that Neji is still a little curious. His entire chest was destroyed by the palm of his own hand, so he can move and recover so quickly? Neji is a little curious. Who is the other party? Ding. Congratulations to the host for defeating a Jonin-level ninja for the first time, and rewards the host 2 W points of proficiency for any ability. Neji was surprised and overjoyed. Exactly. All the proficiency is added to the Gentle Fist method and acupuncture points. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Gentle Fist method. Acupuncture proficiency reached 10 W. Successfully advanced to the realm of Furnace Pure Youth. Reached the realm of Furnace Pure Youth for the first time, and helped the host awaken the physique. Otsutsuki Himura Descendant Sage Body. What? Sage body quality? Conversion complete. Neji felt his body become extremely relaxed in an instant. It seemed to be wetted by water for an instant, and then adapted to the humidity in an instant. With a sense of comfort like a fish in water, Neji took a deep breath, feeling that his mind was as clear as a divine enlightenment. Ding. Sage body's quality awakening reaches 10%, and the purity of host Byakugan is increased by 20%. Host. Hyuga Neji age, 13 years old. Actual combat proficiency, 9,559, can be used to exchange abilities and items after opening them all. Talent. Stealing and devouring wind attribute chakra form changes grade. Chunin ninjutsu. Wind Style Palm Storm, 17959/30,000. Fire Style, Flame Bomb, 12,000/30,000. Physical exercises. Gentle Fist Pointing, 109399/350000. 8 Trigrams Palms Revolving Heaven, 68968/100000. 8 Trigrams 64 Palms, 49734/100000. 8 Trigrams Empty Palm, 28991/30,000. 8 Trigrams One Shot, 17888/30,000. Illusion. No blood succession limits. Byakugan, 61111/100000. Sage Mode, 10%. Sage Body Quality, 5%. Byakugan Purity, 33%. Basic Items. Detonation Symbol *10 Advanced Items. Advanced Water Style Ninjutsu Scroll *1. Basic Sealing Scroll *1 Special Items. Nothing. With the panel attributes alone, Neji can feel that his strength is rapidly improving at this moment. And his body is even more obviously abnormal. This abnormality also adapts very quickly. From the perspective of insight, Neji originally had no perspective at most to observe chakra movements within a range of 300 meters nearby. At this moment, the limit immediately doubled to 600 meters. And more importantly, Xianshu Chakra plus 25. Xianshu Chakra plus 33. Xianshu Chakra plus 24. The ability of extracting Xianshu Chakra from natural energy has also soared to a level. Chapter 64. During this period, Neji was completely immersed in the fun of fairy magic. In the original chakra system, Neji relied on his increasingly sophisticated Byakugan and his mastery of the attribute chakra, which has been thoroughly analyzed. Therefore, in Neji's eyes, chakra has long become an unsecret tool. You only need to use him skillfully, fight, and then become stronger. But Xianshu Chakra broke Neji's definition of chakra. Natural energy drawn from nature has no attributes. Ordinary chakra is like ordinary paper. After adding attributes, it is painted with colors. Various attributes can also be combined, and the colors can become more three-dimensional. There are changes in properties and shapes. As for Xianshu Chakra, Neji saw this piece of paper and turned it into a piece of wood. The most primitive chakra. It is the wood before it becomes paper. Not only the strength is more mellow, the maneuverability also becomes difficult, but how to use it seems to be a problem. With 1 week left before the exam, Neji shut himself up at home for a week of closed training. A week later, on the day of the game, early in the morning, mini preparation started. Master Daming, please take a break here. No one expected that Daimyo was taken to a morning tea shop to rest by a few ninjas. The construction of Konoha village is better than before. The daimyo who came to Fire Nation this time is a very important figure at the top, almost equal to the highest leader. He took the fan and asked, "Where are the other big names?" "They have already rested in the Naruto building, but their next task is to personally escort you to arrive safely. The village is not absolutely safe. Chunin can easily enter dangerous ninjas after taking an exam." The person who was talking to the daimyo was really a ninja codename, Tianzo. "You guy specializes in protecting daimyo? Are you great?" Tianzong scratched his head, a little troubled. Although I am not a great person in Konoha village, I will definitely try my best to protect you." "Oh, it's so hot. Boss, I want a bun." A young man with a handsome face and elegant smile. She is dressed in white, and the forehead protector on her head gleams in the morning light. "Okay, go on for today's exam." "Neji." "Thank you, boss." The daimyo took a look and suddenly became interested. "You kid, come here." Neji turned his head in surprise, a little puzzled. Although Tenzo hesitated, he still said, "Are you Hyuga Neji in Guy's class? Come here." Neji walked over. "Your eyes. I remember it was a guy from the Hyuga clan. Are you Hyuga Hizashi?" When the daimyo asked, Tianzong was also stunned. "Daimyo, this child is Hyuga Neji, and he is Hyuga Hizashi's child." "Oh, yes. Hizashi was more than 20 years ago when Hizashi was as young as you." The daimyo slapped himself with a fan, looking up as if he was reminiscing. When Neji heard that name, he has now habitually learned to cover it up. "Although I came across, the unforgettable memory in my mind is very new today." Hizashi's kid. Must he be a ninja with great talent? Did you also take this Chunin exam? The daimyo's question made Neji awkward. Tianzong was also at a loss. "Okay, daimyo, it's time to go, and I will see Master Naruto later." "What's the hurry? Ninjas of your age, you really can't do anything." Neji looked at the name, silently. Within the Hyuga clan, the clan. In front of the gate, Hinata was carrying a backpack with an indifferent face. Hayashi patted Hinata on the shoulder with a serious face. "Chunin's exam is up to you. Although you met Neji in the first game, Neji is also your best opponent. The recent progress of Neji is obvious to all. You have to catch up with him. If you win this time, you can prove yourself to all branch houses," Hayashi said earnestly. And he thought that Hinata would still be as shy and timid as before, but unexpectedly, today's Hinata's eyes reveal an unfamiliar calmness. "Well, of course, I will defeat him." The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, revealing an unnatural smile. "Yes, it seems that your consciousness has been stimulated." Hayashi was a little surprised, but he still admired his daughter more. After sending Hinata away, Hyuga stood there and sighed up to the sky. "Is it finally the day? Hizashi, today Neji and Hinata will officially become opponents. Who do you want to win more? If you were there, you will definitely let Neji give up? Because you are always so gentle," Hayashi muttered to himself with a bitter smile. Then, in the sky, an eagle was hovering all the time. "Wow," the clear call, with a strong and unique voice. "Nin Eagle?" Hayashi whispered. Ninhawk flew down. Hayashi reached out his hand to catch it and took off the information under Ninhawk's feet. After opening it, Hayashi looked a little surprised. "Third generation? Your lord?" Naruto building, top secret meeting room. Hayashi was taken by two Umbu directly to the conference room underground. The place here is not big, there are no seats, but the lights are bright. When the crowd gathered and walked in, Hayashi saw many familiar faces. "Naruto-sama, Hyuga Hayashi is here." "Okay, this is..." Hayashi walked in and saw that everyone was serious, but some people greeted him. The left row is full of the backbone of Konoha Jonin, mainly Hatake Kakashi, Uetaka, Saratobi Asuma, Yamashiro Aoba, Kazushidai, Shiranui Gunma, and others. On the right side, Konoha represents the leader or patriarch of the family, including Aburame Shiguro, Yamanaka Yuchi, Nara Shikahisa, Akamichi Dinza, Inazuka Hana, and others. "Almost ready. Let's start talking. Don't delay for a moment." Hayashi returned to his position and saw that next to Hiruzen above, there was an old man in his 70s but a good-looking man, who was the consultant of Konoha village, Udatane Koharu. Is even Mr. Kohara there? Hayashi murmured. When he was young, Udatane Koharu was his teacher. What kind of urgent matter is it that must call everyone here? And it is an S-level urgent task. So many people are needed, someone asked, and at the same time, Umbu took dozens of scrolls and distributed them to everyone present. Listen, everyone. Hiruzen finally spoke, and the audience was silent. This matter is about the survival of the village. Everyone took a breath. This time the Chunin exam was used by someone with a heart to carry out a huge attack on Konoha. But fortunately, I have mastered the enemy's general plan. What I need to do now is to take precautions in advance, so I need everyone's help, reduce Konoha's casualties to a minimum. Asuma. Invasion? Shurihong. What the hell? What's going on? For details, please see the scrolls distributed to you. Everyone opened them one after another and saw the general planning process this time. In that case, why don't you cancel the Chunin exam and just wipe out the enemy? Of course not. Udatane Koharu yelled. Chapter 65. This time is Konoha's opportunity. The 5 great names of Konoha will come to watch. Now that there is no war in peace times, ninjas are considered less and less necessary to exist. The country of fire has invested less and less resources, so this time it is important to obtain border defense power. Udatane Koharu was determined. She represents the entire Konoha high level and must proceed from absolute interests, rather than taking the so-called overall situation into consideration like Hokage. Hiruzen also nodded leisurely and explained. With this, Konoha's forces can directly threaten all nearby neighboring countries in order to acquire a wider range of tasks, thereby driving economic development. And the enemy has already arranged in the village. With the alliance between inside and outside, that thing may be a little troublesome, but I believe that your strength will definitely not make the village reproduce the tragedy of 12 years ago, right? Hiruzen said here. Everyone was moved. The tragedy of the 12 young people is shocking. The Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Yurihong and others who were present were not even able to participate in the war and had to be arranged to demobilize non-combatants. And now, they can finally rely on their own strength to protect the village. This mission is very important. You must make sure that you are foolproof. Especially the Hyuga clan, your Byakugan, will provide us with very favorable insights and opportunities. Hiruzen took a look at Hayashi with ulterior motives. Hayashi's face is a bit dull, but in his heart, a raging fire has already ignited. This is a great opportunity for the Hyuga clan. Here comes the opportunity to show the strength of the Hyuga clan. However, since the enemy will choose the Chunin exam time period to attack, then the Chunin exam venue will definitely not be let go. Will it be too dangerous there? Yurihong was worried. Asuma, who has been a guardian of the 12 warriors, murmured, It's not only that, but the big names will also watch it on the spot. That's it. Udatane Koharu said. Hiruzen avoided his head. Let the daimyo see how dangerous the fighting of the ninjas is, and let them understand that the peace of the country of fire must depend on the power of the ninjas. Only in this way will they be moved by us. In any case, this is an adventure, but it is also must-do. Everyone, silence. This is Danzo's right-wing thought, and it has not yet been cleared. However, this is no alternative. After all, the third-generation people are getting old. There is only big love, but they don't have the strength to support the big love. It is meaningless. Ganma, you are the referee. After the incident, you are mainly going to ensure the safety of the children in the venue. You are the same. You come to be my guard. After the incident, you don't care about me, and watch Jinin competing for the first time. In addition, Deming, I have arranged everything. Hiruzen let out a sigh of relief, his eyes firm, as if a flame ignited inside. And everyone is silent. They are all like torches lit by this flame. The gongs and drums were noisy, and the firecrackers rang, but it seemed extraordinarily solemn. Some of the aftertaste celebration programs soon made the court full. The daimyos were placed in the special seats in the center, and the 2 Naruto Zephyr Shadows, wearing shadow robes and hats, took their seats in the highest seats. Master Fengying, please sit down. Hiruzen smiled peacefully, full of humility. Fengying also chuckled slightly and said politely, You always sit first in front of you. I'm just a junior. Where? But Hiruzen still sat down, and the light from the corner of his eye had never left Fengying. Fengying's whole body was wrapped tightly, and she couldn't see her face at all. The weather is not cold. Master Fengying has been in the desert for a long time. Isn't he used to Konoha's climate? Hiruzen asked. Fengying hummed softly. These are not important. The reason why I came is mainly to watch Jinin's wonderful duel. Hiruzen laughed, thinking that Hokage-sama would have such a leisurely elegance. How come? You Uchiha Sasuke of Konoha village, I really care. I'm here to see for myself the power of the legendary Sharingan. After all, the Uchiha clan is a famous person like Uchiha Madara. Fengying said, lowering her head. Her eyes narrowed slyly. Hiruzen groaned seriously for a moment. Fengying continued. By the way, there is Hyuga Neji from the Hyuga family. I am also looking forward to it. It is said that he is the first one? Haha, I can see 2 of the 3 major pupil techniques in one day, and I will feast my eyes today. Yeah. Hiruzen looked solemn and smiled in response, and stopped answering. He shook his head, and immediately understood the similarities behind him, and took a step forward. With just this move, Baki behind Fengying glanced in surprise. It's almost time for Shinjian to start. Hiruzen told Shitong. Okay. Then the same left. Fengying turned her head and glanced at Baki. Said, go down and watch the game with Sand Shinobi's children. Don't disturb me and Hokage-sama. Yes. As a result, Baki was also sent away. The peaceful wind caressed in the air. But today's clouds seemed to be restless and floating. The whole venue is already too busy. There was a crowd of people, and this venue was big enough, and the battlefield below was also surprisingly big, even if it was to summon Toad when I had to fight. Reed jumped down, the scars on his face with serious eyes, but added a lot of serious atmosphere to the game. When everyone saw Konoha's Jonin go down, they stopped making noise. The audience began to enter a quiet state. Yeah. After receiving the news, ignorant Hua Shinjian nodded. Then, the Chunin selection meeting officially begins. Let's start the first match. It's a decisive battle between the brothers and sisters of the Hyuga family. Hyuga Neji versus Hyuga Hinata. This battle combination, once announced, has already made the audience boil. Most of the villagers of Konoha village come to watch the game, so everyone doesn't particularly care who is the tail of the crane, only knows the very mysterious pupil technique of the Hyuga clan Byakugan. And this time, more than one can be seen. It is actually a duel between 2 Byakugan. The audience is naturally looking forward to it. In the big names, several big names began to gather around the table to play cards. Ah, I lost. The daimyo holding the fan became a little overcast, flicked the card and sighed. Let's take a good look at the game. This is the game of Konoha's famous family, Hyuga, said the daimyo. And a fat man next to him suddenly yelled, Hey, why haven't we started yet? How long has it been? The weather is hot again. Sorry. The players are entering the arena. Mitarashi Anko scratched the back of his head grinning and explained. Withdrawing from the daimyo, standing beside him was a burly man Marino Ibiki. Really, it's an unfortunate task, Anko said with emotion. And Ibizi reminded. Protecting the daimyo is also a very important task. Cheer up. In the field, Hyuga Neji walked slowly to the place indicated by the referee Gunma. And what I saw on the other side was Hyuga Hinata's delicate face. The corner of Neji's mouth twitched and said, Hinata, this battle, I have to come on. However, the opposite Hinata did not respond to Neji. Instead, his face was indifferent. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and a confident smile appeared. This confident smile hasn't been seen on Hinata's face for a long time, and Neji couldn't help but be a little surprised. I always feel that something is wrong, but I can't tell where it is. Chapter 66. However, it is a good thing for Hinata to have this kind of consciousness. Since he was a child, Hinata has not been favored by people in his clan. Especially people are not willing to continue to abide by the rules of the clan and branch house. Even within Hyuga, various small families and small groups have been formed. Everyone naturally hopes that their offspring can get more, rather than giving good resources to the children of the clan family every time. And when Hinata was not only low in talent, but also weak in character, Hanabi was born. When Hanabi was 2 years old, he was smarter and smarter than average children. On the contrary, Hinata is less and less like a ninja. Although he worked hard, he was kind by nature and did not act as boldly as a ninja. When Hanabi was 5 years old, her talent was revealed, and even Hinata couldn't beat her in the competition. So far, Hinata has been completely called the waste of the clan, just like Neji. The two are sympathetic to each other. However, the difference is that Neji is the branch house and Hinata is the clan. The contempt for Hinata must be based on the pursuit of Hanabi, which in time gave everyone a reason to support the clan. Hayashi also felt that the clan has a successor. If Hinata had realized this early, she shouldn't have been so questioned by those in the clan. Game start. Shinjin stretched out his hand and waved it down, retreating at speed. When this signal comes out, the competition is just beginning, and the eyes of the audience are instantly focused. The first game of the Chunin selection meeting, a fateful showdown between the two Hyuga clan. Okay, come here, I won't be merciful. Neji took it seriously, not wanting Hinata to feel like she was perfunctory. This also implements the agreement between the two. Haha. Hinata suddenly chuckled twice and started to move forward. What is Neji doing in such a hurry? Hinata didn't make a move, but started talking. What? Neji was a little confused. Hinata today is indeed somewhat different. Is it because it's going to be a match, and I'm a little nervous? Neji hadn't seen Hinata in this state yet, and suddenly felt a bit interesting. Hinata, what do you want to say? Hinata chuckled twice. Brother Neji is so strong. I must lose. If I go all out at the beginning, I am afraid I will lose without a chance. Hinata's words are not unreasonable. Especially in Neji's eyes, he does have the confidence to defeat Hinata at the moment he takes a shot. But he wouldn't do it, and he didn't plan to. Relax, you are very strong, Hinata. Neji encouraged. Hinata took a few steps forward and whispered softly. I want to have 2 simple tricks with Neji brother first. Warm up. When I'm ready, let's go into the real battle, right? It is good. Of course Neji readily agreed, and he was always responsive to this cousin. Let's start, Hinata said, rushing over quickly. Everyone at the scene was shocked. Moved. Why did this little girl do it first? Is the man on the opposite side a fool? The lively onlookers of the villagers watched the start of the battle, leading the atmosphere to its peak. Neji greeted him. Normal battles would naturally not be the case, but since it was Hinata, Neji would not be so serious. What? With a palm down, it was empty. Neji also chuckled, and it was Hinata, who was still a little different from himself. He also slapped it lazily, and didn't even open Byakugan. But in the eyes of ordinary villagers, their movements are already very fast. Drink. The two took turns taking turns. Even Gentle Fist brought out very few chakras, and neither of them opened Byakugan. Hinata, why not open Byakugan? Because brother Neji didn't open it either. A smile appeared on Hinata's face, and he seemed relaxed in the game. Neji took a deep breath, still felt that the fight should be more serious. Otherwise, he would lose his spurring effect on Hinata. Hinata, drive Byakugan. Drink. The sound of the breaking wind sounded, and Hinata greeted Hinata with a palm. Hinata instantly retreated. I don't know if it stimulated the survival instinct. The speed of retreat this time is completely different from the level of the game just now. Huh. Is there such a speed of reaction? Hinata. This made Neji even more delighted. Come seriously, Hinata. Okay. Brother Neji, don't embarrass me too much. Okay. In Neji's eyes, this is just a training test for Hinata. Bring it on. As soon as Neji exited, Hinata had already left. Well, very normal speed. But this time Hinata opened Byakugan, but Neji couldn't choose. When Hinata came up, it was a hard blow, and Neji dodged in a thrilling way. But that palm, I don't know if it is an illusion. Neji always feels threatening. It's great, this palm. Neji looked back, happy for Hinata. But the next moment, that sense of threat came again. I saw Hinata's next attack came up again. His movements were much more flexible than before, and the amount of chakra went up straight. This? Drink. Hinata gave a very strong palm, and Neji couldn't hide from this palm. He crossed his arms and blocked his chest, hit chakra and release it from the arm, trying to counteract the force. Boom. But, unexpectedly, the strength of the opponent is stronger. Neji's whole body was knocked out. The audience exclaimed, Wow, it's so fierce. Is this Hyuga Ryu's physical skill? Can't even keep up with the speed of the eyes. That man can't beat a little girl. This girl is so amazing. The figure and appearance are also my favorite types. There was a lot of discussion in the field, but Neji was in the air, still in shock. Before landing, Hinata's attack came again. Why is it so strong? Hinata. Neji frowned slightly, trying to turn on Byakugan to avoid the blow. But, Gentle Fist method, acupuncture. The opponent slapped both hands and hit Neji's head. Although Neji moved his head back in a thrilling manner to avoid a direct attack, 2 chakra shots hit Neji's brain. Neji felt a splitting headache and was hit by Hinata again. In the air, Hinata landed neatly, without any flaws in his movements. And Neji was beaten far away, fell to the ground, held his head, and looked embarrassed. Hinata, didn't you mean warming up first? Neji stood up hard, feeling that the line of sight in front of him was suddenly blurred, and he couldn't even see Hinata's face not far away. I could only hear the footsteps of Hinata coming here slowly. Your optic nerve has been suppressed by the acupuncture points. The next battle will be the real good show, Hinata said with a smile in her tone. This is not Hinata's tone, nor is Hinata's strength. And you murderess. Neji was taken aback for a moment and immediately moved his feet back. But with each step, the field of vision in front of me became more and more blurred, until completely disappeared. Oh, faster action will only make you invisible. With murderous aura, Hinata quickly approached. Neji's many actual combat experience can fully perceive Hinata's position. He quickly backed away, and it was completely black before his eyes. You are not real Hinata, Neji secretly said, but the next moment, Hinata was already beside him. What are you talking about? Neji brother. Hinata's voice stunned Neji subconsciously. Afterwards, a quick palm hit Hinata's chest in the middle to make up. Wow. Neji was knocked back, staggered 2 steps to stand firm, and dodge a few steps behind him. Brother Neji, Tanjong's big hole has been restricted. Do you still have a chance to win next? Hinata's voice was suddenly far and near, extremely gloomy. Chapter 67. Off the court, Neji was forced to retreat by Hinata, and there was no way to fight back. In the field, the audience talked a lot. Most of them suppressed Neji because they were not favored by Hinata and applauded Hinata. It was called a hot-blooded soup. On the court, Kakashi and Guy looked at this unexpected scene and were a little confused. Even if Neji is at the rear of the crane, it won't look like this. I saw his rapid progress some time ago. Is it all an illusion? Guy rubbed his chin, hesitantly. Asuma walked over from the side and joined the discussion. Hinata has become so strong? It's really surprising, these kids. But Kakashi has a different view. Although Hinata has indeed become very strong, Neji's state is even stranger. Neji, who owns Byakugan, doesn't turn on Byakugan, and his Tenten practiced so hard, and his movements are not so messy. So does his footwork. Kakashi doesn't study physical skills, he can see it. When Kakashi said so, both Guy and Asuma noticed. Both of them shed some cold sweats. Kakashi, let's take a look at your Sharingan. What happened to their game situation? Guy suggested. Kakashi also nodded. Yeah. Afterwards, he was about to tear off half of his mask, but a figure walked up beside him. Ms. Kakashi. The 3 turned their heads together and saw Haruno Sakura running over. Little Sakura? Kakashi put aside his movements. Watching the little Sakura hurriedly, it seemed that something major had happened. Ms. Kakashi, Naruto hasn't come yet. What happened? Kakashi was startled, and he was so sensitive that he suddenly thought of the invaders behind the scenes this time. I don't know. Naruto hasn't been there since the morning gathering. I don't know if I overslept. Little Sakura murmured, but still couldn't hide the worried look on his face. A few of them have been training for this Chunin selection meeting for so long. Probably not. That kid really values this game. Asuma frowned slightly, his face worried. Guy looked at Kakashi and said, Kakashi, this is a special time. Make sure you are safe. After all, Naruto is 9. Having said that, Guy listened. The 3 looked at each other. Little Sakura, you are fighting against Sasuke. I have to go to Naruto now. This Chunin selection meeting is very important. Even if he is absent, I have to ask him the reason. Okay. After Kakashi gave Sakura's instructions, he planned to leave. Before leaving, he said to Guy, if I don't have time to come back, you must protect the children in the court. Guy, wrap it on me. Huh, what the hell is going on? Neji can't fight back. Little Sakura, who was watching the game, looked puzzled. Awesome. The heir of the Hyuga clan. Is he so powerful? Wow, that's too strong. Off the court, Neji was already on the ground, and Hinata stood proudly in front of Neji with sharp eyes. Brother Neji, do you only have this strength? The corner of Hinata's mouth twitched, her eyes filled with gloom. For Neji, all of this is dark. The optic nerve is completely blocked, and every move is to the point. With so many years of hard training, I might have been killed by you. Here. Neji got up hard, gritted his teeth and frowned. Huh, can you stand up? But you who can't use chakra or turn on Byakugan, don't you really become a rubbish in everyone's mouth? Haha, who are you? Neji asked. A dead person. Why need to know who I am? Forget it, it doesn't matter. Neji took a deep breath and took a step back. His weak state made everyone think that he would fall to the ground again in the next moment. What did you do with Hinata? Are you still worried about your trash sister at this time? I can regain her reputation this time and get her the position of heir to the clan. Of course, the price is to make her lose her most cherished cousin. Hinata's face showed a sinister smile that she had never seen before. She walked up slowly, approaching step by step. In the field, two spectators close to the front row were doing it, with beautiful arcs at the corners of their mouths. Hyuga Jintoki. Aoda. This time, Hyuga Neji is completely finished. Aoda. Well, he must have got the dossier before, and then both of you will, hey. The two were full of expectation, and they were already overwhelmed. After all, one of them is the grandson of Hyuga Tensho, and the other is the grandson of Hyuga Tensho. Although Neji's father, Hyuga Hizashi, is the brother of the patriarch, he was sent to Cloud Shinobi Village by Tensho himself. How can he help him now? This waste. Neji doesn't have any talent at all. This is an indisputable fact they have seen with their own eyes over the years. The only thing that can make Neji stronger is the dossier. Off the court, Hinata walked slowly towards Neji. Getting closer, Neji felt that the breathing of Hinata was getting heavier and heavier. This was to condense chakra, and he planned to kill him in one shot. Don't worry, I won't kill you right here. Just let you get hurt once, you can't talk anymore, and you can't walk. As a branch house, your death will naturally depend on caged bird to end. Hinata chuckled so that his shoulders trembled, and Neji had already closed his eyes altogether. Xianshu Chakra plus 39. Xianshu Chakra plus 44. Xianshu Chakra plus 20. From the beginning to the present, Neji has never used chakra. He unexpectedly discovered that in pure actual combat, as long as he doesn't use chakra, he can always open the acupuncture points in his body to absorb natural energy around him. As a result, it is transformed into chakra, and because of the physique of the descendants of the fairy, Neji's conversion rate is also extremely high. The resistance to acupuncture points is also greatly improved. The original acupuncture point control lasted at least 3 hours, but in just 5 minutes, Neji had fully recovered. Chakra in the body is working again. Be a Kugan. Neji opened his eyes and moved instantly. How is it possible? Hinata was startled and didn't expect Neji to act. Gentle fist. The two palms out at the same time, their palms interlaced in the air. The sound of rubbing poof flowed in the air, causing waves of tiny whirlwinds. Neji resisted the attack, and the whole person began to get serious. The battle turned around and everyone was shocked. His eyes were drawn to him, and he thought it was a dead end. But unexpectedly Neji stepped forward at a critical moment. Drink. The action of Hinata looks very sophisticated. The person who pretends to be Hinata should be at least a Jonin-level physique master. 8 Trigrams 64 Palms. The opponent moved very quickly, and Neji had just returned from a restricted state and couldn't keep up with the speed at all. 2 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms. All the palm strength is accompanied by gentle fists chakra into Neji's body, fast, accurate, and ruthless. Neji secretly praised this person for his solid foundation skills. Is it my turn next? After seeing all the palm strength, Neji twitched his mouth and set his posture in the air. How could it be possible? You guy, how could it? Hinata couldn't believe it at all. Neji directly resisted his acupuncture point without any problems. Are you the person I thought in my heart? I'll know right away. Neji's mouth twitched, and his face finally returned to absolute self-confidence. You, Ray 8 Trigrams 64 Palms. When Neji shot, the thunderous chakra, in the palm of Neji's hand, and the person's body, immediately began to, echoed and flowed quickly. Chapter 68. Oh, Jinin from Konoha village is really strong. In the highest spectator stand, the eyes of the wind and shadow were shining with the light released by 8 trigrams chakra, as if fascinated. And Hiruzen just chuckled. Fonging has won the award. I think the Jinin in your village is better this year. Only 3 Jinins came, and 2 were successfully promoted. Although the other one, it was a bit unexpectedly lost. What about Neji? Yeah, the other one is too unbelievable, but Hyuga Neji from your village is too good. This time too, his opponent is obviously above Chunin, and he can actually suppress it again. When Fonging said so, Hokage was stunned. The two have their own thoughts, and they both know Neji's true strength, but they all want to cover up. 2 palms. For palms. The counterattack began. Neji took a few palms out, and the thunder attribute chakra in Hinata's body was ready to come out. Oh, it's you as expected. In this case, you are definitely not controlling Hinata's body, but some kind of stubborn transformation technique. Neji's speed is extremely fast, and his mind is very clear. What do you mean? 8 palms. 16 palms. Ah! Hinata's call. Neji now hears it. Has no effect at all. You guy, isn't it? I haven't taken any action just because I'm worried that my body belongs to Hyuga Hinata. The man was screaming like crazy, and his voice at the moment was no longer like the usual Hinata. Hee, you have fought with me twice. Can you get a bargain from me? Don't you know? Neji's mouth twitched, and he quickly shot out his palm in the air, relaying sideways. 32 palms. Dozens of chakras penetrated into the body of Hinata at the same time. Damn. Once, twice, 3 times. Why are you so strong? 64 palms. Neji felt that the opponent had entered a state of condition and knocked it into the air with a merciless palm. Flew more than 10 meters away, fell from a height, and slammed into the ground. Neji frowned slightly. Under the 33% purity of sage bodies Byakugan, the chakra movement in the opponent's body became clearer. The red chakra began to work in the opponent's body. The wounds outside the body healed quickly, and the Hinata transformation technique still did not end. What kind of weird ability is this? Neji frowned, and this ability, Neji failed to steal after the first 2 battles, is really weird. It looks like the recovery ability of the Uzumaki clan, but this person is not relying on physique, but the feeling of chakra crawling in the body. Damn. The man stood up with difficulty and raised his head. The look in his eyes turned against Neji fiercely. Why are you so strong? What is recorded in the dossier? Neji squinted, and the chakra in the opponent's body began to soar. It seems that something terrifying is quietly breeding. Who are you? Neji lowered his voice and quickly leaned over. There can be no second person knowing everything in this. Before ensuring safety, Neji cannot let others know the intersection between himself and this person. That chakra, even when Neji was fighting with Jiraiya, he could not feel it. Such a strong chakra is simply abnormal. Gentle fist. Neji's swift movement exerted several acupuncture points on the opponent. Afterwards, the chakra in her body began to slowly dissipate, but the whole person remained awake. You guy. Neji's hand was grabbed by Hinata and held firmly in his hand. Finally caught by me? Haha. Behind that, the shadow clone, who had not known when, quickly attacked Neji. There is a palm facing the back. Haha, you're done. This trick can make you unable to act. Hinata was proud once again, and jumped back and began to seal, and Neji watched her soar in the air and snorted coldly. Subsequently, the seal was quickly closed. Looking at Neji Yuin, the other party showed an unbelievable look. Why? Why is it ineffective? Why is it ineffective? Wind Style Double Gale Palm. Boom. Shoo. Hoo. 2 swift whirlwind palms intertwined, rushing towards Hinata at a terrifying speed. Hinata was blown away, and his clothes were torn a lot, and then he fell to the ground and couldn't get up again. After hitting here, Neji breathed a sigh of relief. Half of chakra is consumed, so I have to take a good rest. Today's highlight is not on you. You can stop for a while. Neji turned his head coolly and stopped paying attention to the unconscious Hinata. Winner, Hyuga Neji. Unexpectedly, Huaxuanjian held the chin bin in his mouth and frowned. The ghost knew what kind of devil action he had just seen. But as a referee, his focus is not on this, not to mention that almost every jonin present today has his own extra task. Neji left unhurriedly, and some personnel on the scene came to take away the injured Hinata. Everyone was shocked, looking at Neji's back, unable to speak. Only Inazukiya yelled in the audience. Neji, you be asterisk 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 D. Hinata is your sister. Why are you so cruel? Yurihong was also slightly moved, and hurried off the court to take care of the injured Hinata, and Neji didn't look back. That level of transformation technique. Maybe even they couldn't easily see it, right? If you can tell, this battle is also a personal grievance between Neji and that person. For the opponent, such a dark corner must also want to conceal, which also fits Neji's mind. After this catastrophe has passed, it is better to resolve matters within the clan in private, because now, Neji wants to take the dossier handed down from generation to generation. At this moment, there was a round of applause beside Hiruzen. Fengying stood up and couldn't help shaking his head with emotion. It's so wonderful, Hyuga Neji. His physique is perfect, even more powerful than when I saw him before. Hiruzen frowned slightly. Thinkage-sama has seen Neji? Fengying was taken aback, and after a few seconds of indulging, he smiled and said, "The last time Neji and Gaara from Sand Shinobi Village played against me, I sneaked in and watched it. I'm sorry to hide the truth from Hokage-sama. Haha. It's okay. Master Fengying has such a leisurely elegance. It seems that Konoha didn't disappoint you. After staying in Konoha for a month, should I still get used to it? If you change Hiruzen this time, Fengying can't take it anymore." At this time, in the field, Baki looked at Gaara, who was eager to try, with a headache. "Gaara, calm down." Kankuro and Temari next to each other looked at each other, both a little bit afraid. At this time, Gaara's eyes widened, and her entire face became grim. "Hyuga Neji. He must be the opponent I have always longed for." "Gaara." Baki stretched out his hand and placed it on Gaara's shoulder, injecting all the wind attributes into chakra. "Enough, Mr. Baki." Temari begged immediately. Baki took his hand, and Gaara got a little better, but still murmured, "Hyuga Neji." The next duel begins. Uchiha Sasuke vs Temari. Below, Shiranui Shinjin shouted, and Uchiha Sasuke, like a thunder and lightning, had already jumped away with sharp eyes. "Hey, it's your turn, Temari, that kid from the Uchiha clan known as a genius," Kankuro said. Temari nodded, his face serious. I will try my best to delay as long as possible and wait for the troops from outside to rush in." Chapter 69. Uchiha Sasuke and Temari, please come forward. Shinjin stretched out his hand, divided the two sides of the field, and motioned for the two to get closer. On the left is Uchiha Sasuke, on the right is Temari of Sand Shinobi. Both seem to have sharp eyes, but they have long been gearing up and ready to do it at any time. Begin. At the beginning of the game, there was no nonsense on both sides. Uchiha Sasuke went straight forward, and Temari went back quickly. Sasuke moved quickly and quickly caught up with Temari, and Temari threw the shuriken at close range. Sasuke took out kunai to resist and threw it away, but in the air, the smoke bomb detonated. Boom, ahem. Sasuke was in the fog and couldn't perceive any chakra. "What kind of poison is this?" Sasuke secretly said. "A star." Temari has found the location and swept into the smoke screen. All of the smoke disappeared, and Sasuke was blown away. 2 stars. Sharingan. Sasuke's 2-tomo Sharingan was turned on, and immediately saw the difference between the surrounding wind speed and chakra density, and the action easily avoided all attacks. Found all the dead spots so quickly? So, what about this? Temari chuckled, threw a few swords in the air, and then vigorously waved the big iron fan. 3 stars. The iron fan was opened to the fullest extent, and the violent storm came right away. The 5 shurikens were like rollers, blown up by the whirlwind, and flew towards Sasuke quickly. Under the vision of Sasuke's Sharingan, he could clearly see the trajectory and direction of all attacks. An attack of this level is useless to me. Sasuke dashed towards Temari while hiding, but the next moment, he noticed something and leaped to the side. Boom! Bang, 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 bang. For consecutive rapid blasting sounds exploded the scene. The audience exclaimed, "What is this? Isn't that a dart just now? What's going on? Is it the transformation technique?" The transformation technique is used on the ninja, but it is actually a detonation talisman. Temari's mouth twitched, his face full of confidence. Thick smoke billowed, and a few detonating symbols had turned the venue into mud. But a few seconds later, a figure was as fast as lightning under everyone's eyes. Call out. Neji, watching the game, was a little surprised. He is indeed a talented ninja. With the body of the Uchiha clan and Sharingan, his speed is as good as himself. Temari naturally couldn't react at all, and Sasuke kicked Temari into the air with a close kick. 1 foot, 2 feet. Temari soared into the sky. The iron fan got out of his hand, but Sasuke flew into the air, behind Temari. The lion plays. Temari was dropped to the ground, and Sasuke made up a nice kick. At the very moment, Temari stretched out his arm and resisted the final offensive. As soon as she landed, she wanted to fight back, and a bolt of lightning had already struck the top of her head. What is that? Raikiri? Is it Raikiri who copied Ninja Kakashi? It turned out to be Raikiri. The face was shining, and he swallowed in fear. Sasuke clicked the corner of his mouth and said proudly, "The Chidori can still make 3 shots. Do you want to continue? Temari was silent, looking at this genius ninja with such terrifying combat power and surprise. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. Next game, Haruno Sakura versus Yamanaka Ino. Please Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura to the venue to prepare for the battle. On both sides, there are two girls with nice faces and good figures. Especially Ino, with a faint golden head, attracted the attention of many men. However, at the same time it has attracted doubts. So beautiful. What kind of a ninja? It's a vase. I think the girl opposite is much better than her. It took a lot of effort to dress up for being so good-looking, right? Faced with doubts as soon as he played, both sides felt a little uncomfortable. The battle begins. At the beginning of the game, Sakura seemed a little nervous. But today, for some reason, Naruto didn't come, and the pressure fell on Sasuke. He, who was indifferent on weekdays, unexpectedly opened his mouth to cheer. Hi, little Sakura. Okay. Both Sakura and Ino were taken aback. They didn't expect Sasuke to speak. Sasuke seemed to hesitate for a while before saying, "Win this game." Okay. Little Sakura responded immediately, then fell into ecstasy. Sasuke, cheer for me. Ino pig. Stupid. Stupid. Little Sakura grimaced at Ino triumphantly, and Ino frowned, looking embarrassed. The scene was a bit awkward. Neji took a deep breath and spoke. Ino, let them see the results of our training. In a word, the audience is eye-catching. Does anyone know that Neji and Ino still have this relationship, the result of training? This makes everyone look forward to. Before, Neji's performance was also noticed by everyone, which surprised many people. At this moment, I put my hopes on Ino. Seeing Neji talking, Shikamaru and Choji couldn't sit still. Come on, Ino. Come on. Hey, Ino, your current strength is no longer what you used to be. Hearing these encouraging Ino, I feel warm. Okay. She quickly closed the seal and rushed towards the little Sakura. In the field, the two female ninjas are the two with the worst overall strength, but the level of excitement in the battle is not inferior to the first two groups. Although it's just a pure physical game, the chakra control techniques interspersed in the middle, as well as the use of ninjas, both Sakura and Ino have surprised the audience. Oh, can this happen? That blonde sister's physical skills are so powerful. People in the field talked a lot. Winner, Yamanaka Ino. In the end, Ino won the physique. After the chakra was almost exhausted, Sakura's speed and strength were suppressed by Ino. After the end, little Sakura lay on the ground and asked with difficulty, "When did your physique so powerful?" Ino smiled and made a grimace at little Sakura. "I won't tell you, idiot little Sakura." Slightly. Afterwards, he looked at Neji on the stage. Neji was smiling. The boy's face was gentle and beautiful. The next game, Aburame Shino versus Nara Shikamaru. This set of duels is a duel between high IQs. Shikamaru's advantage lies in higher IQ combat skills and tactical arrangement, while Shino's advantage lies in his ability to control the field. Shino gradually turned Shikamaru's advantage into nothingness, but the battle between the two long-range ninjas was fun but lacking passion. Finally, when the battle was intensifying, Shikamaru unexpectedly got close and had a physical skill game with Shino. Despite the special training, Shino was still placed. Shikamaru's current Shenfa, saying that he is a ninja who specializes in physical skills, some people will believe it. Hey, this is the result of the devil training, right? Shikamaru, who was unable to fight at first, wiped his nose, feeling full of accomplishment in his heart. Oh, physique has improved so fast? Hiruzen nodded and laughed. These two Konoha shinobi internal fights were very interesting to him. Ah Feng yawned, with a tear or two in the corner of her eyes. It's really boring. I'm tired of watching it. The next game is Uzumaki Naruto, right? The ninjas of the Uzumaki clan should give me some surprises, right? When Feng talked about the Uzumaki family, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart suddenly shook. Where is Uzumaki Naruto? What about people? The audience began to feel a little impatient with the long wait. What's the matter? Hiruzen was puzzled. At this time, Leitong suddenly jumped up and said, Naruto-sama, Kankuro, the fifth group of contestant, is ready, but Uzumaki Naruto is gone. He is about to disqualify him from the competition according to the rules. Chapter 70. Is that so? Hiruzen frowned, and originally wanted to take advantage of this moment to take a good look at Naruto's progress. His heart cocked a bit, but in that case, there was no way. In this case, in order to be fair, he will be disqualified from the competition. After all, the opponent is the ninja of Sand Shinobi Village. If you don't pay attention to these, it will not be justified. But Fengying spoke at this moment. No, how can it be cancelled? This was originally just a performance-based selection contest. It is normal for the players to leave temporarily in an emergency. Besides, how many ninjas are there to see our Konoha village ninjas? It's a big show of Kamui. It's really not good to just cancel one. Fengying. Hiruzen squinted his eyes slightly. However, Fengying seemed to dominate it extremely strongly. Don't disqualify him. Our ninjas in Sand Shinobi Village also want to find a chance to show their prowess. Why don't we retreat from the game and proceed directly to the next round? Personally, I also care about the next game. Fengying's words made Hiruzen think deeply. Li Tong was a little confused. Just do what Master Fengying said, Hiruzen said. Yes. Then, the next one is, in Master Fengying's eyes, there seemed to be a little starlight. It's Uchiha Sasuke, fighting with Hyuga Neji. Hiruzen, who raised his head, seemed to be very concerned about this game. The venue, Shiranui Shinjian, received the news. Because Uzumaki Naruto did not arrive in time, Naruto-sama Zephyr Kage-sama, after a discussion, decided to adjust the time of the round. If the second round is not present, he will be disqualified. Then go directly to the second round. Because it was the game system that Shinjian said, most people were not convinced at all. What? Change if you want to change it, break the game system. Is this unfair to Sand Shinobi Village? If you are late, you should be judged directly. The scene was a bit out of control at one time, and everyone scrambled to say a few words. Although the final result had almost no effect on them, this was the only place where they had a sense of existence. The dissatisfaction of the crowd suddenly became very embarrassing. But at this time, all Jonin and Umbu personnel are secretly preparing for the situation that may arise at any time in the future, and they have no time to take into account the emotions of these audiences. I don't know that Huashinjian is also a bit difficult, but since the order above is so, it is not easy to violate it. Next, the second round will be played directly, and the winners of the first 4 groups will fight in pairs. Speaking of this, the above discussion has become even harsher, and some people even scolded them for swearing. On such a noisy occasion, no one can make the few mouse shit mixed in a big pot of porridge. The next game is Uchiha Sasuke versus Hyuga Neji. Please come down and get ready for a duel. Audience in the field. Is that Uchiha Sasuke just now? And that Hyuga Neji? No way. 2 geniuses? Are you stupid? How could that Hyuga Neji be a genius? He is a crane tail. It's just that he has been practicing hard, and he has only recently become amazing. Then this is a duel between talent and hard work? It's exciting. Then you need to say? It must be a genius Uchiha Sasuke can win. Talent can't keep up with hard work. That's not necessarily true. Hyuga Neji also possesses one of the 3 major pupil techniques of Byakugan, and his insight is still higher than that of Sharingan. In terms of physical skills, Hyuga is still stronger. In an instant, 2 genins' names were thrown out, and the field was full of excitement. The name Uchiha alone is enough to excite everyone, not to mention Sasuke, a genius IP, and the reputation of the Hyuga clan. Shinjian exhaled. Unexpectedly, it was Genin's name that saved the scene. Presumably their special names like Jonin and even Umbu can't have such a big influence, right? Uchiha, Sasuke, Hyuga, Neji. Game start. The 2 were ready early, both stood still, and did not move after the start of the game. Genius? It's really enviable. Hyuga Neji took a few steps forward, whispering inadvertently, but Sasuke still did not leave. Neji took the initiative to speak up, smiling calmly and said, "It's a great honor for me to fight against geniuses," but as he said, his eyes were aside. Looking at the highest floor, only the observation seats below the top of the building, are the 2 Naruto Zephyr shadows. Before I take the shot, you'd better think carefully about your own consequences. If you think about it clearly, it's not a bad thing for you to surrender early. Uchiha Sasuke is ready to fight. He seems to be a little bit brooding about Ino and Sakura just now, but Neji was startled and didn't care about Sasuke. This feeling of being ignored in the first place immediately angered Sasuke. "Referee, can I do it now?" Sasuke confirmed again. Shinjian was taken aback, then nodded. The game has started. Call out? Sasuke approached quickly, and Neji reacted. In an instant, Neji jumped back, moving very quickly. Sasuke was also taken aback. He didn't expect that his unexpected attack would be easily resolved by the opponent. Go, Uchiha Sasuke. Let the other party know how good you are. The Uchiha clan will definitely win. I've asked about this kid from the Hyuga family. It's just a crane tale. The public opinion in the field all pointed to Uchiha Sasuke. And thanks to the opponent Uchiha Sasuke, the eyes of the audience are now on Neji. Everyone is expecting, when will the tail of his crane be knocked to the ground? At this time, is the best chance to prove yourself to the Zone family and the branch house, right? Neji muttered to himself. Sasuke's attack came again, always wanting to start a lion combo from under him. But how could Neji let him succeed like this? 8 Trigrams, Revolving Heaven, Xertzi. The chakra of Revolving Heaven jumped quickly, and Sasuke was fascinated by this strong chakra. Chidori. Chakra, the thunderbolt that changed its nature, gathered in Sasuke's palm, and attacked Neji as if 1,000 birds sang at the same time. Ba 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 ba. The lightning strikes forcibly on the Revolving Heaven. Chakra was broken by the thunder-attributed chakra, and Neji was a little surprised. Stopped Revolving Heaven and saw Sasuke's solemn face, a pair of Sharingans staring straight at him. Oh! Neji smiled pleasantly and stepped back again. Wanna run? Sasuke frowned, took out the scroll, and summoned 2 wind demon shurikens. Then he threw it out quickly, but Neji also turned on Byakugan the moment he jumped out. Under Byakugan's insight, the 2 wind demon shurikens couldn't hit at all, and the thin line that covered chakra was hidden inside, which was easily seen by Neji. Neji went up and touched it lightly and changed its flying direction. The wind demon shuriken was directly forcibly hit by Neji to change the trajectory and headed upwards, aiming directly at the highest viewing stand, the position of Hokage Zephyr Shadow. Call out? The sound of breaking through the air, the kunai thrown by Sasuke cut the thin line away, and the wind demon shuriken fell like a kite with a broken line. Feng Ying, who was sitting in the highest seat, widened her eyes and said, Haha, this kid. Hiruzen next to him shed a drop of cold sweat. Secretly said in his heart, Neji, are you ready? Old man, I too wait for you at any time. Hiruzen's hands, hidden in the cuffs of the shadow robe, clenched into fists. Chapter 71. The eyes of the audience focused on the audience. This duel between Genius and the tail of the crane would have been thought to be an exhibition match suppressed on the one hand. Unexpectedly, the two sides are evenly matched, and the smell of gunpowder is full, which is amazing. At this moment, the support rate of the two sides is no longer too disparity. Less than 30% of the people in the crowd are beginning to be optimistic about Neji, thinking that Neji should always hide some amazing killer moves. Of course, most of these people must be jealous of the Uchiha clan's name, just because the name is harsh and they target Uchiha Sasuke. It's almost time for me to leave. I have seen the training results of the 2 students in our class. Neji should have nothing to do, Asuma said to Guy, tapping him on the shoulder. Is it so positive? It's not certain whether the other party will act. Guy was a little surprised. Asuma laughed and said, You don't know the old man of 3rd generation. If it were not for a critical situation, he would definitely not go into a big fight. Now that he has done so much preparation today, he must feel that something big will happen. Besides, the information we get is scattered, and the old man has his own set in his mind. Okay, Naruto's son said so, and Guy of course has nothing to say. And today's weather is exceptionally calm, and the sultry weather makes people drowsy. On the contrary, it's such a comfortable situation that makes Guy can't help but have a vague worry in his heart. Asuma is gone, but Kakashi is also not here. They are gone. We have to cheer up. Shurihong leaned over, looking alert. Red? Guy frowned slightly. A physical ninja and a phantom ninjutsu. We are really helpless, in case the enemy... Hong chuckled. Don't forget, we still have Lord 3rd Hokage. Don't worry too much. Okay. Guy nodded. He just verbally said, no matter how bad, he still has the last line of defense. By the way, how is Hinata? Guy asked. Hinata? I don't know. Someone came to Hyuga's house and took her away, saying that it was Gentle Fist's injury and they had special medical treatment. Hyuga clan? At this critical time, is there really a genin in mind? Guy doubted. Yurihong frowned and analyzed. Perhaps it is because Hinata is the clan, but the investigation work is almost done in Hyuga. Now the intelligence department has grasped almost all the enemy's movements. It's just... It seems that there is an enemy who has not found a location until now. It is moving very fast, but it should not be far from here. Can't Byakugan even see it? No, the other person's body is too weird. It is said that the structure of the body is very strange. The bones and veins in the body are not like normal people, because the actions are also difficult to capture. There are people like this? My guy was surprised, and had to be more composed to cope with the changes that occurred at any time. Boom, boom, boom. On the ground, the traces were embarrassed. Sasuke took a few breaths and stood up again. There was a hint of anger in his eyes. Neji, on the other hand, has an indifferent face, and he can't see what is thinking in his head without opening his mouth. I didn't expect you guys to be so strong. Sasuke shook his right wrist with his left hand, and 2 rounds of Chidori came in a row, but they couldn't hurt Neji at all. Look at Sasuke's Neji, he is going to use Chidori again. If that technique is too troublesome and consumes too much, the subsequent battles may be difficult to deal with. Neji ignored it, but decided to preemptively. Shoo! Neji understood. The body moved forward quickly, Sasuke noticed it, and quickly accelerated his progress. Chidori. Neji was already in front of him. This time he was going to play face-to-face, and his eyes on the court became even tighter. The movements of the 2 genins are almost to the extreme, and everyone is worried that if they accidentally blink their eyes, they will miss the wonderful details. 8 trigrams. 1 shot. Neji released chakra close to his body, and Sasuke was forcibly shaken away by a huge force. Do you plan to use physical skills to resist this time? Sasuke frowned, and Sharingan immediately found the gap. As expected of Sharingan, physique can't force you to a dead end. Neji sighed with emotion, seemingly comfortable. On the other hand, Sasuke was forced to come. Chidori shot. Wind Style Palm Storm. Neji is close to release Wind Style. At the moment when the huge cyclone touched thunder and lightning, all the hurricanes merged into the Chidori in an instant, and the thunder and lightning were instantly resolved and disappeared without a trace. What? Sasuke was surprised. Oh, lay can be restrained by the wind. Neji slapped Sasuke into the air. Sasuke flew into the air, and Neji saw the timing and quickly jumped on. Is the line play? It's a good idea. Neji has appeared behind Sasuke, using the same moves as the lion play. The audience was shocked. Could it be that Neji's Byakugan also has the ability to copy ninjutsu? Or to say, Neji is also a talented ninja, so you can see it? And Sasuke, who was flying in the air, gritted his teeth and couldn't understand why, as a genius, he was driven into desperation by the tail of a crane. The huge emotional contrast caused Sasuke's physical strength to begin to emerge. The body was burning, Neji was startled, and found that the curse mark on the back of Sasuke's neck began to burn, and it jumped quickly, spreading to his back and even his whole body. In Neji's Byakugan, the chakra in Sasuke's body slowly turns black, which is very similar to the Senju chakra. But the difference is that the black and white of Senju chakra is half and half, and it looks extremely pure. But the chakra in Sasuke's body is obviously more black than white, and it feels extremely gloomy. What? Sasuke roared and turned around in the air. His eyes had changed, like monster eyes. Boom! With a punch to Neji, Neji stretched out his arm to resist, but was still knocked away. Fire style Howlong fire technique. A huge fireball flew from Sasuke's side in the air, and gradually turned into the shape of a dragon's head, huge and swift. Neji just got up hard from the ground and gritted his teeth. Can't use wind style. In Byakugan's field of vision, he could clearly see that the curse mark seemed to be chakra from the dark, which strengthened Sasuke's ninjutsu to the full destructive power. Using wind style to integrate with fire style will have unimaginable consequences. You can only use this. Neji took out a small scroll, and in the circle in the middle of the technique, there was a word of water written on it. This is a high-level water style ninjutsu scroll. Neji took out another scroll with the word Feng written on it, which is the basic seal technology scroll. Today's matter can't let Sasuke arbitrarily release the curse mark in his body anymore. It just gives Orochimaru a more favorable combat environment. Water style broken flow technique. A huge amount of water came out of thin air, resisting the dragon fireball, and the huge mist instantly evaporated and dispersed the audience. With the thick fog, Neji swiftly passed, and a thunder attribute gentle fist knocked down Sasuke. Seal technique, seal of evil sealing. Neji took out the scroll, and the warlock on it seemed to live alive and jumped into Sasuke's body, trapping all the curse marks, and Sasuke showed pain on his face. What did you do? On the other hand, Neji was Sasuke who ignored the curse mark on the ground and disappeared. He stood up and looked up somewhere above. Tenzo's ninjutsu? Neji, what are you? Hiruzen frowned in the spectator's stand, very surprised. It's really amazing, Hyuga Neji, even this one can deal with it. At this time, Kaikage is exactly what Orochimaru disguised. He was surprised inwardly. It seems that Hyuga Neji still has an unknown secret. But then, Wind Style Palm Storm. 8 trigrams Empty Palm. The empty palm was strengthened by Wind Style, with huge power. Under the cover of the thick fog, it rushed quickly and directly hit Feng body. Chapter 72. What the hell is this? The audience exclaimed. Feng was blown away by Wind Style. In order to stand still, the shadow robe on his body was blown off, and the hat was also dropped. A terrifying face was making a cold smile. Earth Style, Earth Dragon Bullet. Bang bang. 2 Earth Dragon bullets left. Orochimaru avoided, and the battle of the upper shadow class had begun. Everyone saw Orochimaru's face, and the audience panicked. Most people still don't know the situation clearly, and even thought it was just an accident caused by Genin in the next game. Sure enough, it's you, Orochimaru. The smoke dissipated, and both of them jumped onto the roof tiles. Hiruzen also took off his coats, revealing the long-wearing combat uniforms. So that's it. Orochimaru widened his eyes and looked at Hiruzen's appearance. Since I discovered it a long time ago, why did you come to fight? Do you think you can defeat me? Orochimaru gave a terrifying smile, his eyes gloomy. Hiruzen chuckled and shouted at everyone. The purpose of the invaders is to destroy Konoha. I will never let them succeed. Everyone must ensure their safety. Seeing that the other party ignored him, Orochimaru frowned slightly. It seemed that he had miscalculated a bit in this battle. With a glance in his eyes, he saw Baki who didn't know the truth below, and he had already started to act. Forget it. It doesn't matter anymore. Old man, don't worry. This time you will see something very interesting. Orochimaru's face showed another stiff and sinister smile. Hiruzen was about to speak when he suddenly realized that a feather floated in front of his eyes. And everyone in the audience also saw the feather. Feathers, more and more. In everyone's eyes, there is a feather, and then the vision is shared, and the feathers are almost all over the audience. In the corner of the auditorium, a ninja wearing a black cloak. Zhang Qin, Illusory Technique Nirvana Abode Technique. Ordinary people, all fell into a deep sleep, and Genin was also affected and was about to be recruited. Even the ninja that Chunin went up was affected a little or two. Suddenly, nothing flashes past. Yurihong slashed past her back, cut the clothing between her neck, and dropped her hat. Pocket. Yurihong looked at the ninja in front of her, unable to believe her eyes. After taking so many Chunin exams, he is also very familiar with Hong, and he smiled. Ah, I was discovered, but it doesn't matter. This time Konoha is done. He said, throwing out a surgical chakra knife. Yurihong covered her chakra with kunai in her hand, and threw off the attack. But two had quickly retreated back, and the person had already left. Yurihong was trying to chase, but then seemed to think of something and turned around. With a dozen complicated knots, Yurihong frowned and rushed back. Solution. In an instant, the feather disappeared. What's the matter? Are there any enemies? Run. Help. What is this? Why? At this time, Otonin and Sand Shinobi had already ambushed ninjas in advance, and Konoha Zumbu was actively fighting with him. Yurihong shouted, "Don't panic, everyone. Umbu and Jonin here will protect your safety. Please try not to participate in the war." With this shout, the chaotic formation of the audience was under control. Fortunately, Konoha arranged enough Umbu to control the scene for the time being. And in the field, how is this going? Sasuke got up hard and glanced at Neji. On the other side, a few people came quickly. Neji and Sasuke both turned around and defended. Revolving Heaven Palm. Temari's Iron Fan and Kankuro's Puppet were both resisted by Revolving Heaven, and the two retreated aside. The 4 people who landed are Baki, Gaara, and the former 2. Don't you understand? The village was attacked. These Sand Shinobi are enemies, Neji said coldly. And Sasuke was surprised. It wasn't something that surprised the village. Neji's 2 attacks on Feng just now weren't a mistake at all, but Neji had known the invasion plan a long time ago, and was fighting him against this mentality? Sasuke's heart was instantly shocked. So, our enemies are these 4? Is this actual combat? Sasuke reopened Sharingan, looking serious. Do not. Neji took a deep breath. The purpose is to stop Gaara. Why? Sasuke puzzled. Baki was surprised. You kid, you know a lot. At this time, the Daming Watch battle area above. A piece of peace. A few Oten ninjas who rushed up were quickly cleaned up by Ibis and Anko. The daimyo behind him complained. It's so noisy. What kind of show is this? Why is it so messy? What? Was it invaded? Are the ninjas so idle and doing nothing? Anko, the enemy is Sunagakure. It should be in harmony with the outside. It is dangerous now. Abizi, don't listen to her nonsense. Don't worry, big names. We will take care of this place. You are safe. Anko glared at Abizi. Ding! The sound of metal colliding in the air filled the entire venue. After several rounds of collision, Sasuke and Neji were evenly matched. After all, both of them were exhausted after the battle, and the enemy, even Temari, took a break, and Kankuro has not yet taken a shot. Very well, Gaara. Right here to realize our Sand Shinobi plan. Baki slapped Gaara on the shoulder. And Gaara did not resist. Seeing Neji, his heart was full of passion. Ha ha ha. Hyuga. Neji. It's finally time to wait until this day. Didn't you say you want to defeat me? Come on. Come defeat me. I will show you the real power. Gaara began to seal slowly. Stop him, Neji said, and then quickly shot. But a figure fell, and it was Baki who repelled Neji. Sasuke saw that Gaara was closing the seal and turned on Chidori and left quickly. Scythe Itachi. Temari blew a powerful whirlwind, blowing Sasuke's attack away. Is it wind style again? Sasuke frowned. He was not very good at dealing with ninjas who would use wind style. Fake sleep technique. Gaara finished with a cold smile. Then, gradually fell into a deep sleep. It seems a bit troublesome. Neji frowned. In Byakugan, the chakra in Gaara's body became thick for an instant, with a very terrifying feeling. Boom! A huge thick fog swept the entire venue. Nearly 1,000 people inside were all curled up in fright by the thick fog, and even the Hokage above was attracted. Then, in the dust, there was a huge roar. Ho 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 ho! This loud noise is almost like a devil who wants to drag everyone into hell. It's terrifying. What exactly is this? What is this? After the dust dissipated, everyone saw the figure of a huge monster in the field. The whole body is sandy, and the whole body is engraved with mysterious charms. It looks like a fat civet cat, but it roars loudly and moves very quickly, especially the heavy chakra that can be felt all the time. It is daunting. This is a tail beast? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who saw this scene, was so shocked that his jaw couldn't close. No, I have to stop this guy, he secretly said inwardly. Immediately seal. Summoning of. Call out. A few very thick snakeheads flew up. Hiruzen quickly avoided, but the technique failed to work. Orochimaru smiled sullenly. Let the children go and play. I am looking forward to playing with you, Mr. Sarutobi. No, Master Third Hokage. In his eyes, there was no respect for this former master, and only sympathy for Third Hokage's aging. Chapter 73. What the hell is? Shirihong, who was protecting the name of the village in the field, was embarrassed when he saw this behemoth. Oops, neither Kakashi nor Asuma are here. At this time, several people who were also participating in the battle leaned over. Little Sakura. What the hell is going on? Red Teacher. Ino. That kind of big guy. Sasuke and Neji are still in the field. Shikamaru. Is there a real battle so soon? Hongzei said to them. Don't force yourself. Take care of the villagers. The most important thing now is to protect non-combatants. Shirihong frowned, gritted his teeth and looked at the huge guy, flaring his teeth and claws to destroy the sight. I remembered the devil who wreaked havoc in Konoha 12 years ago. The young ninjas who had become Chunin and Jonin at that time were not allowed to fight with the tail beasts, resulting in the death of most of the elder ninjas in that battle. Now, it's the same scene again. She will do her best to protect this village. Boom boom boom. Ahaha. I am free at last. The sharp voice of One Tail resounded through the audience. When it was released, its heart was filled with unbalanced imbalances. The first desire, of course, was to destroy it wantonly. Ah! A palm slapped it, and the earthquake trembled. The two groups of people on the ground, Baki and Neji, also quickly withdrew. With this kind of big guy in the field, ordinary ninjutsu and physique can no longer play a big role. Even in the air, the whirlwind caused by the turning of One Tail Shoha's body was waving, and the dust was everywhere. Afterwards, Shoha finally noticed the crowd around him. Huh. It seemed to stare at the crowd and stretched out its palm, shooting at the crowd. But Hiruzen, being held tightly by Orochimaru, Yuri Hong looked at her. Her eyes rounded. She was helpless. Boom! A palm shot, and there are hundreds of spectators below, all huddled together, without resistance. Big leaf, big whirlwind. I saw a figure flying up quickly, kicking away the palm of his hand. But it only shifted the position a little bit, which was not particularly effective. Secret technique, insect wall technique. With an order, a huge number of insects flew to gather together, resisted the palm, and moved it away. Finally caught up. Mr. Guy's kick is very important. Aburame Shino's hands are still in the state of not printing, and a cold sweat is dripping from his forehead. Everyone was shocked, but fortunately he took his life back. Guy glanced at Shino and said, "Shino, protect non-combatants. The will of Konoha Village has always been the same. That is to protect the jade, the will of fire." Okay. It seemed that he had discovered that his palm was blocked by a kid, so Shoha couldn't sit still on the spot. Damn it. You hateful human beings still treat this uncle as pets, and I want you to die. Shohei turned on his frantic state, raised his head to the sky, and opened his terrifying mouth wide. What is he going to do? Yuri Hong was surprised. She could perceive that huge amount of chakra, which was already freezing quickly. At this time, Neji driving Byakugan, of course, felt something wrong early. Uchiha Sasuke, you come to deal with these two ninjas in Sand Shinobi Village. I must stop Gaara. Okay. After Neji's order, Sasuke opened Chidori alone and stopped the attack of both Temari and Kankuro. Not yet approaching, a figure stood in front of him. Baki sneered, "Just a Jinin. Do you want to stop Gaara?" Neji squinted his eyes slightly, and Shoha couldn't predict what would happen with this move. It couldn't be delayed. Someone had to stop it. Is it time to forcibly turn on Sage Mode? Baki? Neji hesitated. Your opponent is me. When a figure appeared, Neji was taken aback. Seeing the side, Shiranu Ijinma jumped down. Baki gritted his teeth, and Gunma said to Neji, "Neji, you are already an excellent chunin. Go ahead and stop the enemy. Leave this to me." Afterwards, Neji quickly stepped away and approached Gaara. It can't be delayed anymore. Not for a second. Ziszi. In the air, the dangerous chakra softened. With his mouth wide open, Shohei condensed a ball with chakra in the air. The ball grew bigger and bigger, and it expanded to a full 10 meters in diameter. Then, it shrinks quickly again, and it compresses very quickly. Oh! Shoha opened his mouth and ate it in one bite. That thing doesn't feel very good. Shirihong frowned, with a bad feeling in her heart. Guy clenched his fists, hesitating. "Is it time for me to play?" he murmured. And Baki chuckled slightly and said to Ganma, "Give up, this venue is over." Neji? Enko saw a figure leaning up under Shoha. On top of Marizu's head, Gaara was sleeping. Neji's goal is very clear. It's too late. Baki chuckled slightly. The gazes of the audience gathered in this place once again. Shoha has already eaten the tailed beast bomb, the fierce chakra. Even ordinary people can feel his unparalleled destructive power, because even the surrounding air seems to be condensed into a state of space collapse. But the tailed beast bomb is about to blast out, and Neji's distance, at least 20 meters away from Gaara. He jumped away, getting closer to the top of Shohei's head, but it was still close to 10 meters. The tailed beast bomb is about to be launched, and this area is about to be raised to the ground. But at this distance, Neji jumped into the air, and the corner of his mouth hooked. Finally caught up. He muttered to himself. He didn't wait to get close, but was in the air, and lifted his palm. Gaara's phonation technique is not such a simple technique, haha. Kankuro chuckled lightly. Temari also had sharp eyes. The power of long-range ninjutsu is not enough to destroy the art. Even if Gaara is awakened, the warlock in Gaara will not be easily destroyed. Neji was in the air and played Gentle Fist. What? Gentle Fist? What's the use? It's over, everyone, run. Neji ignored it and slapped it again. 8 palms. 16 palms. This is Ray 8 Trigrams 64 Palms. The power of each palm is not great, but it is impartially aimed at Gaara 10 meters away, and the chakra in the air spreads so fast that it turns out to be in a state of thunder and lightning. This. Enko looked at Neji in front of him, his eyes rounded. Zertzi. Thunder and lightning chakra poured into Gaara's body. In the next moment, a miracle happened. Shoha seemed to be restricted, and the tailed beast bomb that was about to spew suddenly became dumb, and his entire body was unable to move, as if he was paralyzed. What the hell is going on? My body. Shoha gritted his teeth, unable to move. Ah! Sleeping Gaara screamed. His body seemed to have the thunder attribute chakra all over his body. At this moment, even after such a distance, all awakened. It's like a bunch of bombs. It only needs a little spark to ignite the fuse, and then it can explode violently. Gaara's whole body was paralyzed by the electric shock. With a loud bang, Shoha disappeared. Gaara fell to the ground. Her eyes rounded, and she muttered to herself in disbelief. Did you plant this chakra that night? When Anko saw this scene, his eyes widened. She's secretly surprised. This thunder attribute control is exactly the same as the mysterious Umbu boy encountered in the forest, the boy who chased Orochimaru and beaten him. Chapter 74. Huh. Orochimaru saw this with surprise and longing in his eyes. Neji, what an interesting candidate. Hiruzen, who was not far away, clenched his fists, ready to do it at any time. He was still worried about the following situation, but Orochimaru didn't rush to restrict him here, and he couldn't move. However, Hiruzen was not in a hurry. He arranged everyone to deal with the attack early, and dragging Orochimaru here was the greatest help he could do. And Neji solved the problem, and after landing, he just glanced at the fallen Gaara with disdain and left. Then he jumped to the crowd and went up. Sunban was avoided by Baki with the sound of kunai alternating. Wind blade. The sharp blade passed in the form of a whirlwind, and Shinjian dodged it in a thrilling manner, but the clothes on his body had long been torn through several slits. It's dangerous, he secretly said in his heart. Shinjian realized that this person had something to do with the death of Gale that night, and no longer dared to act arbitrarily. Baki took the opportunity to say to behind, Temari, Kankuro, leave with Gaara. Yeah. Temari catered, and Kankuro helped the injured Gaara. Gunma, Sasuke, catch up. Gaara can't let Gaara perform such ninjutsu. Yeah. Sasuke set off to chase. Baki was about to stop, but was stopped by a man with burned scars on his face. Shinjian, I'll help you. Be careful the same. As soon as he landed, he was greeted by the wind blade, and he took it down if he was not careful. The same person was knocked out, and the clothing in front of him was cut with a knife. However, after he got to the end, he got up again with difficulty. That's how it turns out. Does Wind Style's chakra form change? Is it a powerful enemy? Seeing that the same thing is not a big problem except that the clothes are torn, Baki said in surprise. Huh? It's interesting. At this time, Shinjian said, don't underestimate him. This guy's ability should be the cause of the injuries on Haifeng's corpse. The resemblance was startled. Thinking of the moonlight and gust of wind, he felt heavy. Then, this is Haifeng's revenge battle. Both of them were full of spirits, but Baki sneered. Let's go on together. I can accept the few mice from Konoha village. Hiruzen and Orochimaru were in a stalemate, and a figure of a teenager jumped out. Neji? Hiruzen exclaimed. Wind Style Palm Storm. After Neji's not seal, he slapped out in the air, and the whirlwind quickly moved out. Wind Style Breakthrough. Orochimaru also quickly formed the seal, and the broader wind fluttered away. Seeing his advantage, he smiled. A great guy with physical skills, can you beat me in ninjutsu? Orochimaru is very confident, and the wind of the big breakthrough almost dissipates the storm. However, after the sun set, Neji ticked the corner of his mouth and sealed again. Fire Style Flame Bomb. And as soon as he finished the seal, Orochimaru and Hiruzen were shocked. They couldn't believe that Neji would still do this trick. Boom, boom, boom. A few fireballs flew away, becoming more violent by the wind, and hit Orochimaru's body. But then, Orochimaru's body transformed into mud and landed on the ground. In another place, like a rotten corpse, crawling up slowly, Orochimaru's whole body is like a cartilaginous worm, slowly splicing together. Hee, you kid. Why would you still use Jiraiya's ninjutsu? I'm becoming more and more curious about you. Humph. Hiruzen interrupted Orochimaru's words and said, You kid has pinpointed the period of Jiraiya's absence. You have carefully planned it for so long, right? Orochimaru spread out his hand and said, No, I just have a ninjutsu and want to ask you to try it. You can only experience this skill. Even Jiraiya does not seem to have enough qualifications, Orochimaru said with a cold smile. Hiruzen can feel the coldness behind Orochimaru. This coldness is not only chakra, but also the inner darkness and cruel methods of doing things. This kind of psychology is difficult for any genius to grasp, and it is the result of countless killing experiences. No matter how good Neji is, Hiruzen can't let him come into contact with opponents like Orochimaru. Neji, get out of the way. His opponent is the old man and me. Master Naruto, I can help you. Neji didn't want to miss this opportunity in actual combat. Neji has been longing for this real strength of the shadow class for a long time. You kid, he. Orochimaru glared over, stretched out his hand, and immediately released a poisonous snake. Boom. A fireball knocked the viper back with unparalleled strength and speed. Byakugan. Neji turned on Byakugan and went forward. At this time, several figures jumped and blocked Neji's way. Neji stepped back a few steps, and the four of them all wore Otenin's forehead protector, and none of them looked irritable. Neji stepped back a few steps, and the dark chakra felt in Sasuke was felt in the four people, and it was even more intense, more dangerous. Sakan, Jirobo, Tayuya, Gadamaru. Four of you, let Hokage-sama and I enjoy the next battle. Master Naruto. At this time, a team of Umbu came. The four leapt up, coming here to plan to support. Afterwards, the four of Inin saw that the situation was not good. They jumped away quickly, reached the four corners on the roof of the tiled roof, and stood in their respective positions. Orochimaru's mouth twitched and his eyes were not good, while Hiruzen had quick eyes and quick hands. Yuien pointed at the place where Neji was. Earth-style dragon bullet. Neji was startled and immediately stepped back. Ninfug, four purple flame array. On the four corners, a huge barrier appeared, enclosing the inside. And Neji was driven out by Hiruzen's operation and said to Neji, "Go and do what you should do, leave it to me here." Afterwards, Umbu couldn't break the barrier either. An Umbu who tried to rush in was burned by the purple inflammation, and his whole body ignited. The four people also created a barrier for themselves that was difficult to break. Neji looked inside blankly. Although he came up to further strengthen his strength in actual combat, he couldn't help but feel a little moved when he saw that Hiruzen was facing a completely disadvantaged situation and pushed himself away without fear. Regardless of Konoha's dark high level, is this the will of fire? Neji really felt it. But to protect the village, you can't just have these pure wills, you must have real strength. That's right, I have more important things to do now. After Neji said, he jumped down and left the battlefield. Not only is there a troublesome enemy here, but there is a more troublesome enemy that needs to be solved on the other side. At the same time, on the other side, Naruto's house. Cuckoo. After flushing and running out of the toilet, Naruto's face was green. I knew I would not eat those things. Today is the key game. I have been having diarrhea. In the living room, Kakashi leaned on his forehead and said helplessly, "This is okay. There is still another match." After all, he looked serious. Fortunately, nothing happened to Naruto. I hope the venue is still as safe as ever. No, I'm going to the venue anyway, but I found Teacher Jiraiya and learned super ninjutsu. I must teach that puppet player from San Shinobi a lesson. Naruto made a noise and walked out of the room with Kakashi. After the two came out, they didn't take a few steps, and they were all taken aback. Not seeing the direction of the venue in the distance, thick gunpowder smoke was rising, and it seemed that there was a big sensation. Chapter 75. Bad. Kakashi took a step back in shock, then clenched his fists. Naruto, something went wrong in the venue. He glanced back at Naruto and realized that Naruto was surprisingly mature. What exactly is going on? It turned out not to be. Naruto was a little dazed by the scene. Kakashi explained, "Naruto, listen to me. This is the S-level mission I received. The village will be attacked by the enemy today. What we have to do is to hide in secret and provide timely support when the war breaks out so that the village will not be affected." Hurt. Kakashi tried to speak calmly, not to affect Naruto's mood. What? Naruto seemed sure. His eyes couldn't believe it. Naruto, your identity is very special. You are genin. You have a certain fighting capacity, but it is too dangerous to go to the battlefield. Before, when facing No Cut and White, it was just a small scene, a real war, but better than that. It's much more dangerous. So, as the teacher in charge of the class, I will give you a task. Task? What task? Naruto also adjusted his emotions and accepted the fact that Konoha village is now being attacked. I'm going to the venue to support the main battlefield now. You don't have to worry about the outside. The village sends combatants to guard. You go to Teacher Irika in the back mountain of the village and evacuate the non-combatants with him. Naruto. Okay. Naruto nodded, but thoughtfully. Take action. The two went down to the room together. Kakashi began to rush to the venue, and Naruto was going to separate from Kakashi and head towards the back mountain. Naruto, please ensure your own safety and don't join the battlefield. Although Kakashi knew that the enemy's Konoha village internal assistant was there, and the external enemy had been intercepted by Jonin in the woods, he was still worried about Naruto. This is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. If it is used by the enemy, it is a great thing. Okay. After separating from Kakashi, Naruto swiftly moved in one direction. After moving shortly, Naruto's pace slowed down. Until the end, it stopped completely. Over there? Naruto looked in the direction of the venue, his eyes full of desire to fight. He learned the summoning technique from Jiraiya just now, and of course he wanted to find a place to use it. But it is too eye-catching in a place like the venue, and most of Umbu and Jonin are there, and there is a high probability that you don't need yourself. Protecting non-combatants, that is too pediatric. What really needs oneself is outside. Naruto looked at the Konoha Grove outside the gate of the village, where Konoha was really guarded. Having decided on the direction, Naruto went outside the village without hesitation. The figure is fast, and the pace is firm. At this time, the venue of the Chunin selection meeting was already a mess. The appearance of One Tail made everyone realize that the venue is not safe. Fortunately, Neji took action and prevented Gaara's technique, and the venue was saved. At this time, the villagers began to evacuate the battlefield under the protection of Jonin and Umbu, but the endless stream of Otanin jumped out, as if they had been lurking long ago, and vandalized in the venue. The accusations of these Jonin and some Chunin who were present became extremely convinced. Illusory magic tree-bound kill. In front of Shirihong's eyes, a person foamed and fell down. Awesome. As expected of Teacher Hong. Inazukiga shouted in surprise. On the other side, Shikamaru is helping Hong clean up the enemy, while the younger Sakura and Ino are protecting the villagers. At this critical moment, even Jinin's combat power has been fully utilized. Fortunately, these sound ninjas are only irregular ninjas collected by Orochimaru, so their overall strength is not even as good as Genin. In the very center of the venue, it is completely different from the spectator stands. It is still the center of the storm. Wind Blade. In the air, the domineering Wind Blade, turning around, seems to be able to cut through the air wherever it goes. Hateful. He fell to the ground and covered his left arm, obviously injured. Shinjian also landed at this time, with a few scars on his face, his expression serious. Baki sneered and sneered. Obviously, the two of them have fallen short of one. Is Konoha's Jonin at this level? It's really boring. Baki stretched out his hand, and his hand began to condense the chakra of wind attributes. His ability to change form completely surpasses the two Jonin in front of him, and Baki is also a well-known existence in Sand Shinobi. Moreover, the two of them are several years older, and they have much more experience in performing tasks than them, so the combat experience is not of the same level at all. Lei Tong and Shinjian each took a look, each confused. How should the two of them defeat this powerful opponent? Similarly, this is Konoha village. Haifeng must have been killed by him. Even if he is dead, we have to get rid of him here. Gunma pulled out the chinbin at the corner of his mouth and held it in his hand, preparing to fight back. And the same Tong nodded and made a gesture to make seals. Okay, let's send you to the west. Baki's mouth twitched, disdainful of the two of them at all. Hold on. A voice sounded, and then a figure jumped out. Baki frowned slightly and glanced at the person in front of him with disdain. He is also a well-known existence in Sand Shinobi. After fighting with the two special Jonin in front of him, he naturally looked down on the ninjas of Konoha village a lot. It was Might Guy in front of him. You two, step back. His opponent is me? Ah, good. The two met Might Guy and quickly stepped back. Gunma was exactly Might Guy's teammate when he was young, and naturally knew how many caddies Guy had. Who are you? Remember my name, Konoha's Blue Beast, Might Guy. After Guy said, he jumped out and Baki hurriedly used the wind attribute chakra. Wind rope. I saw that the whirlwind in the wind was like a rope, restricting Guy in the air to his wrists and ankles. Might Guy noticed that he was in the air and couldn't move. Baki smiled and said, it seems that you are nothing more than that. You Konoha Jonin are really bad, not as good as the boy I met that night. Why didn't that boy take action? However, as he ridiculed, Guy also got serious. In that case, 8 inner gates. Open, close, and open. Open the third gate in a row. The speed is fast, the strength is strengthened, and the wind in the air is directly disintegrated. Call out. As the speed of sound, Guy jumped in front of Baki and kicked Baki in the chin. Baki was hit, and he leaped out and fell to the ground. Standing up and looking at the person with a faint blue light in front of him, he realized that he seemed to have encountered a hard fight. On the other side, Temari and Kankuro are running away with Gaara, a figure chasing behind them. "You take Gaara away. I'll fight that kid," Temari said, and Kankuro nodded. Afterwards, Kankuro took Gaara away. Temari landed, and Sasuke followed. "Yo, kid." Sasuke frowned, pretending to fight. At this time, another figure joins the battlefield. "Sasuke, you are a lightning-style ninja. He is a wind-style ninja. You are perfectly restrained by her. Let me come. I will catch up to support you immediately." Both Sasuke and Temari were stunned. They saw a boy in white with white eyes. After thinking about it again and again, Sasuke nodded. "Then I'll leave it to you, Neji." Sasuke pulled away and Temari naturally refused to let it go, and picked up the fan. Scythe Itachi. A huge whirlwind chased Sasuke away, but a stronger whirlwind, the hurricane blowing out Temari with one blow, dispersed until there was no offensive at all. I saw Neji gesturing with a strong color of chakra flowing on his palm.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.